That hurt.
Then what is this thing?
Gio should never play for U.S. men's national team again because of the action of his parents.
What an idiot! Oh!
What type of Muppet does this?
Muppets. Absolute Muppets.
I'm not going to be the best person to give a whole explanation here, but that's...
Booty! Sick! Booty!
Fucking deal with it.
What are we really doing?
Yeah.
I can agree with that. Throw a zebra in between a tarantula and an elephant.
Has been nothing more than a sham.
Yeah, we didn't play well, but you know what? At the end of the day, we got the job done.
It's going to be a good time for sure.
Oh, sex with the first cousin would indeed be incest. And
welcome to the Straight Red Card. It is Monday, the 26th of February. This month went by rather quickly, don't you think? I think it did. Just zipped by for me. It was kind of funny during the pre-show. Brett's usually really busy getting the show ready. And so he can't really
today more so than normal too. I was really pressed for time.
Right. So, I made a John Holmes reference joke, and then I'm like, do you know who John Holmes is? He's like, nah, maybe I've heard of him. But obviously John Holmes being the adult actor, adult movie actor from the 70s and the 80s.
The peer, or maybe even mentor of Peter North.
Yes.
Car manufacturer.
He would have come before Peter North, and I believe he was larger than Peter North. I don't know that. I haven't measured.
Right.
I haven't measured. See, you're still not listening to what I'm saying.
Yep. No, sorry. I saw a Jack Pineda comment, and I'm like, ooh, that's right. I need to get that. Keep it talking. This is the second time I missed it.
Yeah. So then I said, all right, you don't know who John Holmes is. Do you know who Long Dong Silver is? And he didn't. And so I tried to explain where Long Dong Silver.
No, you said Long John Silver, and I said I've had the fish.
Nope. Long Dong Silver. It's not John, not John.
You're making things up.
Now you're mixing up John Holmes and John Silver, but it's Long Dong Silver, and it came up during the Clarence Thomas hearings because I believe one of his assistants claimed he made a Long Dong Silver joke in front of her, and that's how one of the many reasons. Something about a hairy can too. I don't know what that's about. It never made any sense to me. That anyhow, Justice Thomas survived, and that's why he's on the Supreme Court today. But that's how Long Dong Silver's name, I believe, came into everyday common parlance. And for John Holmes, it was when he died of AIDS, I believe, in 1987. So there you go. The turn in the background says, and Brett didn't hear any of that, by the way, because he's focused.
True, this is the second time I missed it.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, let's meet up after the show, Derek. You can tell me about that again.
Yeah, you really don't need to know. I think they're both dead. All right. But they both were known in their days for having large members. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Straight Red Card, the only show that gets stepsister dating advice. The NL preliminary roster is out, and my favorite shoe thrower has made it. ? He also fingered my wife. So I haven't even seen the list. It's been a busy day, so I will get to see it on the show.
You at least know one of the players now.
Yeah, you will get my immediate reaction to whatever it is and whoever it is on the list. I did have a nightmare last night because I have a health check coming up, Brett. I hate going to the doctor. I just hate it. Yeah. And so I had a nightmare last night that I was
about the eagle claws again.
Yeah, it was related to that. So, yeah. So I was back like 5 years ago, back in the hospital, getting wheeled into surgery for a massive hernia, life-threatening hernia. And I woke up from the surgery, and they had chopped my dick and balls off. Not just my balls, but my dick.
Well, Derek, tell us about the dream.
And made me a vagina.
Tell us about the dream, Derek. What happened in your dream?
That was a nightmare, my friend.
Oh, I thought that actually happened 5 years ago.
No, it didn't. It didn't. I'm still enjoying. I got out of there with my nutsack, thank God, and my testes, and I'm still jerking it to the oldies. So there you go. And the oldies,
like Long Dong Silver.
There you go. And John Holmes.
I had to think about that too.
Yeah.
I almost said John.
Did you see that thing that came out on YouTube with Vaush? Apparently, he said he wanted to. He wanted to have sex with a woman as a horse.
Oddly enough, I don't listen to anything from Vaush, but yes, I did hear this.
No, it was on somebody else's show, and I was just curious what
No,
the
it
hell they
made
were
it
talking about.
rounds. That's the reason why I know it.
Oh, I know. It made the rounds. So after seeing it so many times, I'm like, all right, what is this? All right, I will click on it. You got me. So, and that's what it ended up
now
being.
you got a Trojan virus.
No, it was on YouTube. I think I'm fine. I'm fine. The other thing that keeps popping up on YouTube, and I have no idea why, is Primus. Why is Primus coming up on and being recommended in my feed? And I bit on that too, because I couldn't remember some of the songs from back in the 90s, so I ended up listening to Winona's Big Brown Beaver again for the first time in like 25 years. And I thought, I don't know if they could make a song called Winona's Big Brown Beaver anymore, because we all know what that song's about. And then there was Jerry was a race car driver. So yeah, they suckered me in because I kept thinking, why are they sharing this? And then I got curious. I'm like, I barely remember these songs. Let me listen to them. So Jerry was a race car driver. Yeah. Anyhow,
you mentioned that, and all I could think about was from like How I Met Your Mother, where Robin Scherbatsky in her teen years was a part of this Numbers TV show in Canada. And he's been in a number of shows and stuff, but he's like, if Robin's beaver can eat 6 inches of wood an hour and Tony's beaver can eat 8 inches of wood an hour, how many inches of wood can they consume in 5 hours?
Easy to figure out. But yeah, the Big Brown Beaver coming up there.
It was meant for kids, Derek. Come on.
Oh, that show was?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so.
It was a heartfelt kids number show teaching kids math.
Isn't that another show that today, like Friends and Seinfeld, people will complain because there are no minorities on the show?
Yes, both, I guess.
Yeah, I would guess that would be a complaint these days, because I don't remember anything but white people on that show. I never. Yeah.
Yeah.
I never noticed it. It didn't come.
Barney's brother is black. It's Wayne Brady. He's only in like 5 or 6 episodes. So.
Wayne Brady's his brother?
Yeah.
Best skit ever is still the Chappelle Wayne Brady skit, where Wayne Brady picks Chappelle up after making fun of him during one of his shows to go talk about it, and ends up that Wayne Brady's just a total outright thug and a pimp. You haven't seen that, go look it up. It's hilarious. Elaine dated that black guy once. That's true. Yeah, Elaine. Yep, that's true. I don't remember that, but I'm sure it's true if you say. Oh, he was white. Anyhow,
BMR does mention that Wayne Brady was in more than 5 episodes, and that's a good point. In the entire final season, he's probably in more than 5 of those. So, yeah.
I heard the ending sucked.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you want it spoiled?
No, we don't need to tell people what happened, but I might go back and check it, because I did watch that show.
Well, it's still a fun show. But yeah, that last season, man, I don't even think the last season was that bad. I mean, in my opinion, but the way it ended, stupid.
Yeah. That Otzi the Iceman guy they found up near the Alps in Australia, we're between Australia and Italy. I think it ended up being on the Italian side, and his body was frozen in place. It had been frozen in place for almost 3,000 years. And, they got all the DNA from him. And it turns out they could only find 19 of his relatives that were still alive today. And they were all on the islands of Corsica and Sardinia. So interesting. Otzi the Iceman. Fascinating stuff.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, population has been dwindling amongst European and certain populations in the United States anyways.
Yeah, it basically had a really
there's not that many of them.
He had a really rare DNA that's very hard to find today in today's world, unless you're in Corsica or Sardinia. Interesting. All right, let's move on to some other stuff.
All right, we're going to start off with a soccer topic, actually. Did you happen to catch the Liverpool game?
Who they play?
Chelsea?
Oh, no, not the whole thing, but I watched
Okay.
highlights. I watched the highlights because Chelsea lost, and it's ha ha ha. They lost again against the Liverpool team full of like a handful of youngsters and then a few old guys
Yeah.
that they threw in.
So
But
this was just after the goal.
okay,
And we're going to kind of pause it periodically just so we don't get dinged by any stupid...
oh well, yeah,
Shit
the
out there.
Premier League will get us for sure.
We, you know what, we'll do audio. Why not? Fuck it.
Okay,
Let's go.
no,
low
more
on the
likely
audio.
to be nabbed with audio, but that's all right.
Oh, good call. Who
Yeah.
needs audio just to see a goal celebration?
Okay,
Speaking
I
of
miss-
warm and family-friendly goal celebrations. You know,
I
like
missed
the
this.
salute, the punch in the air, all that stuff.
What do you do? Grab a schlong?
We'll see. Falls down.
Okay.
Oh my god, he just scored a goal.
Oh
Hey!
yeah, this was so weird. Why does this guy get between his legs like that? What a homo. Sapien. That's just a very weird
Nice
thing to
cleanup.
yeah, that's a weird thing to do, man. Why would you grab his legs and spread his legs like that?
You've been
I mean-
busy listening to your long dong silver
I don't-
stories too long.
Don't get it, dude. That is very awkward. That's very awkward. Samikas got off. He got off. Okay. And got Virgil off at the same time.
It was sweet. It really was. It was
I'm
nice
all-
that you thought about him as well.
Well, just do it in the privacy of your own apartments. I think that's kind of
Thanks,
Just-
Jack, for the 5 though. Appreciate that, man.
that's just weird. I would definitely not do that. Like I would make it sure I didn't do that because that's just a weird.
Look, he's got his hands up in the air. No, guys, stop! I don't want this.
Yeah.
Oh, you're taking it, all right.
Yeah, that's weird. Okay, weird celebration.
That camera guy's getting right up in there, man. You know his footage isn't good. I mean, good for TV. Let me rephrase that.
Yeah. Okay.
Can't do any of that, man. It's on primetime TV in the UK.
All right. So that was
Microfied!
that was odd.
That's incredibly.
I saw it. I saw it on the highlights and thought it was weird, but it didn't really occur to me we'd cover it on the show. But you know,
Actually, you know how I mentioned that the camera guy footage is not family friendly and wasn't utilized. We did find it on Twitter, and I'm gonna play you a little bit here, just a little bit. Okay?
no, it gets
careful.
worse. It gets
careful.
worse.
It's an extreme close up.
No.
I wanted to bring this up, Jake, because you're quite into architecture, really old school architecture, like buildings and stuff like that. You don't want them torn down. But I mean, what do you think about a neighborhood that's set up like this?
Well, on the ground, you wouldn't be able to tell. But from the air, let's say you send out your kids for Christmas because you just bought them a drone. And they
Mhm.
start flying over the neighborhood, and they're like, oh, that's kind of weird. Our neighborhood's a penis.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to expose your kids to that, then that's okay. But it is an odd.
Mommy, I found out why our neighborhood's called Long Dong Silver.
There you go. So how do this all gets tied back together? Here we go. Long Dong Silver is yeah, I mean, that's very odd. It's not like super weird though. It's just yeah, I mean, I guess you're building a community in a semicircle there, it looks like on the side too. So
What are you talking about this?
well, no, it's not a grid, is what I'm saying. This isn't a
Oh.
grid. So this is probably a suburban neighborhood,
Yeah.
is my guess.
No, absolutely. Yeah, this is I'm assuming this is probably all built on contour, which is why there's a slight curve to the right.
Yeah. I mean,
And clearly the neighborhood is circumcised.
we don't know. You just pulled the sheath might
That's
be
true.
thin. Yeah.
It could be in motion backwards. You're right.
Now the neighborhood my house was on was just like this, except for
And he's on top of it today.
Half Chubb Lane.
Circumcised drive.
Circumcision Drive.
Hey, yeah, circumcision. Yeah. This is races against uncircumcised people. This is the mushroom
right.
stamp way.
Yeah.
And Jack says, "Wow, so that's what a penis looks like."
So, wow. Okay. Yeah. So I lived in a similar neighborhood, except for it actually had a pair of balls off to the left and right, and the penis was straight. So
Yeah, why can't there be like two mini cul-de-sacs here? Just like one shoots off, the one shoots off this way. There could be two other cul-de-sacs right here.
that's exactly what mine was, where I lived in Bloomington.
Interesting.
So it had balls.
Were you in the balls of the
No,
neighborhood?
I was the tip of the dick.
Oh,
I was
nice.
literally at the very tip.
You were this guy right here, huh?
Exactly. Yes, that's where I was. So no rumblings, so it never got turned on. Brian DeMarco says, wait till you see the cul-de-sac. I see what you're doing there. See what you're doing there. Okay.
All right.
That was an interesting start.
We got a lot out of that joke.
That is what's called
more than I thought.
city planning. Not so much architecture, because we don't know what the houses are going to look like, right? So that's more city planning. And most cities are on a grid. Modern cities started out on some sort of grid.
Until you start getting those stupid five intersection streets.
Well, that's when the grid gets broken a little, right? Yeah. We have that with Indiana Avenue and Indianapolis. You got I don't know. It's not abnormal to have that in a grid system, but Indianapolis is on a grid system, right? North and south.
Yeah. So, well, that's predominantly Indiana in general. It's just literally all north, south. I mean, the Cape Diagonal Road, but those are like the redheaded stepchildren of Indiana.
It depends on how a city evolves sometimes as well, how the roads get built. So you have many cities were usually started on a grid, but then something got weird, right? And somebody
natural bodies of water, like the White River,
right? Got the White River, and you might have an offshoot development that seems like Broad Ripple that was never meant to be a part of Indianapolis, but then got incorporated into Indianapolis later, and their grid was a little off of the Indy grid, so they had to blend it together somehow. Anyhow, all that said,
speaking of Indiana planning and recognition. Us recognizing, I guess. I wanted to bring this up because a good friend of ours from the BYB years,
Justin,
posted something. Yeah, Justin posted a resolution that got passed recognizing BYB
in 2012,
13.
Wow. Okay.
So this day, BYB history. The city of Indianapolis passes a special resolution on the commitment of bringing professional soccer to Indianapolis. I still stand by the mission of creating an inspiring fan environment and creating a groundswell of support.
4-11. Yeah. Well, those were some good beginning years that we had there.
Can I zoom in on this? No, not really, very easily. Yeah. So I'm just going to go over the list here because they do mention the key members who were key at the time, probably part of the board at that point. It says the Brickyard Battalion was founded 2 years ago in 2011 by Brett Corbett. They started with looks first, of course. Got Jared Skinner, then Derek Ritchie. Sorry, you were third.
I was third, yet I helped write the document. So yeah, that's I get to be listed third.
Daniel Eccles, Justin Weiss, Jaron Bodine, John Baker, Josh Mason, and we're missing
missing
Gabe.
a few. Gabe had just started with us at that time. Isn't this Racing Indy? It was originally going to be named Racing Indy.
The top three names there. Jared was never part of the board of BYB. I think the reason why he was listed in the top three there predominantly came because it was you, me, and him that really kind of started pushing the Racing Indy
right
from there. So
the owner did buy the website name rights to racingindy.com. And that's how we found out who the owner was going to be, that it was official, that he was moving forward when he started buying up and then he bought indysoccer.com. And, but yeah, we had a little problem with Indiana no, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and they didn't want us to name the team Indy Racing. I mean, that's dumb on their part because it was a tribute. It was a tribute, even though it's Rossing in Spain and Argentina and Latin America, where they do use
Americans.
that name.
It's racing now.
That would have been even more of a tribute than it ended up being because the checkerboard kits, that was, our idea as well. I should say it's my idea, but that's all right.
If the name actually stuck and IMS didn't have an issue with it, I would have absolutely hated it if people were calling it Rossing Indy. I'm just going to say it right now.
Yeah. And then they came after us for having the name Brickyard Battalion. But then after several meetings with IMS and their lawyers, it ended amicably. And
we just got a resolution recognizing us as a supporters group for professional soccer. So suck it. So
they let it go. And in fact, we partnered with them on that one of the Indy 500s where the team and the supporters group were not sponsors, but recognized on who's the gal that used to race back then. She's from Indianapolis, actually. Anyhow, we were on her car. It was very small. You could barely see it. But so we ended up.
Was she the GoDaddy chick?
No. Not Danica. I love Danica. You know that. I love me some Danica Patrick. Huge fan. Now it was the other one that never really amounted to or did anything really well. She always kind of finished in the back of the pack. Sarah something. Sarah, shit. It is Sarah. I know. I've met her several times. And I met her with the VP at the time, Tom Dunmore. I met her with Tom Dunmore a couple times.
I'm just watching the chat just to wait for her to somebody say something here.
Sarah Fisher. So we were not sponsors of her car. We were recognized on her car. And I don't think she did very well that year. I can't remember. It's a long time ago. All right, now that we bullshitted about ourselves for 10 minutes, hate to see that guy who self-immolated himself in front of the Israeli.
The dude who started a bonfire?
No, he lit himself on fire.
Thank you, Derek. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
The guy that lit himself on fire? Yeah, he wasn't out there like starting a bonfire singing Kumbaya. No.
Worst protest ever. Like, you don't come back from that. Like, that's your big statement. Well, I hate to tell you, you're not the first guy to do it. And it makes a statement, but then it goes away. And actually, the war just keeps on going. So if you want to make a difference, maybe lighting yourself on fire and killing yourself is maybe not the way to make your point, because it's a brief point. It's horrible. And the footage, dude, I guess he stood there for a while burning, and then he started screaming because it hurts, by the way. I don't know if anybody's been burned here. I have.
They mentioned when you get set on fire, when you get like burned alive and stuff like that, that your nerve ends like die up after like 7 seconds.
That's 7 seconds of screaming.
Oh, that's miserable to say the least. And after that, it's just constantly just like you're remembering, sort of like if you eat a steak and you remember what the steak tastes like, you may not necessarily feel that fire anymore, but you remember that it sucked.
Dude, yeah. I thought they had got to him soon enough to save this guy, but apparently he really doused himself pretty good. Anyhow, grim stuff in the news. Very grim, actually. By the way, let's move away from grimness. I had to bring it up because I watched it and I thought, this is a horrible, horrible thing to do to yourself.
We are not. We're not going away from grimness. We're just changing the subject slightly.
Okay. All right. Oh yeah. It's not a basking shark. It's not a great white either. It is a tiger. You will be able to see it clearly. Now that's the one from last show.
What is this one? Nope, it's this one. Yeah, that one is, yes. Don't worry, I'm going to play. It'll
okay. My bad.
All right, we're in neutral. We're in reverse.
What an idiot.
That was a bad idea. Get on the boat. Ryder.
I wouldn't be laughing.
Could you swim any slower, too?
Oh, I touched it.
And it goes right by him.
Dude, that's a
That's a
That's
tiger.
not a basking shark, dude.
That's a fucking tiger. One of the biggest.
Ryder. All right, we're neutral.
One of the biggest killers in the ocean. Like, they'll eat anything. Like, they don't care. They've had tigers open up their stomach. They got license plates in there. They got beer cans. Motherfuckers eat anything.
Yeah. You know that tiger shark, initially the guy jumped on and he's just like, what the fuck was that? And he just swam away for a second. But he's like, wait a second, I'm a motherfucking tiger shark. And that's when he was coming back around.
God damn. That's insane, dude. So don't be a dumbass. Make sure you actually positively identify a shark that's 16 feet long or whatever it was before you jump on it. Like a basking shark is, yes, harmless. This ain't no basking shark. By the way,
have you seen, speaking of shark videos and stuff like that, have you seen there's a video of this like female diver that goes down and she's like talking about like what you need to do in case you get attacked by a shark?
Yeah, right. I've seen it.
They show the shark coming up to her and she just gently puts her hand on its nose and kind of pushes it down. Don't swim away because it's going to think you're a wounded fish.
Right. Well, you know what? That works 100 times in a row for her, I'm sure. But on the 101st time that doesn't work, and that thing raises up and bites her hand off before she's able to touch the nose, then we'll have a different video on YouTube.
There was one of the videos of her where she's getting into the water.
Yeah.
And she puts her head in the water just to see what she's diving into, and then she immediately pulls her legs out, and there's I don't know what type of shark it was, but the shark comes out and like tries to bite her.
It's tiger. It was a tiger. She does all the tiger swimming. She doesn't do that. I've never seen her do it with the white sharks. By the way, galeophobia is the fear of sharks. Now, there's no such thing as an unnatural fear of sharks. We have been evolved to fear sharks or things that can eat us. So it's not an irrational fear, but galeophobia. You know what galeophilia is?
When you want to fuck a shark?
You want to fuck a shark. Galeophilia. Yeah, kind of weird.
Relationship's a bit one-sided.
I think you're right. You better bring more than your cock and balls to that fight. All right. Wilmer.
Not quite the spear fishing I was expecting, guys.
License plate. You saw Jaws. Where was the license plate from? Actually, go look it up. It's not from just Jaws. And a lot of the little tidbits about Jaws were inspired by things that happened in a creek there in New York back in the 1915s, etc. The story is inspired. It's not based. It's not a true story, obviously.
I think Wilmer's pointing out that this also happened in Jaws, and he's asking a movie trivia question.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it did happen in Jaws. I think they cut open a shark, and there was it might have been a tiger as well in the movie, and it had a license plate in it. Yeah.
Do you remember where the license plate was from?
North Carolina?
No, the shark. He even mentioned how the shark looks like the shark came down from the Mississippi. So it was either Missouri, Mississippi, or Alabama. One of those three, I think.
Oh, that's creepy. Although bull sharks have been found all as far up as in the Ohio River near Cincinnati. Spencer Doherty for 269. Any thoughts on Muncie folk getting into Indy 11? We would have welcomed Muncie people. In fact, I thought we did have a Muncie group at one point in the Brickyard Battalion. But I don't know about getting into Indy 11. I don't know what that's a totally different thing. You mean working for Indy 11? Shit. We started the team and we weren't even hired.
It was Louisiana, actually.
Was it? Okay. That's believable. The mouth of the Mississippi.
Wilmer had it, yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I was also looking that up because people in the chat were saying all sorts of places like Massachusetts. I'm like, well, that's predominantly, I think, where Jaws takes place in that area, is not? Like, or is it off the Carolinas or something?
No. It's off of some fancy beach in Massachusetts. You were right the first time. And I was the summer that movie came out, Jaws, I was visiting Montauk, which is obviously on Long Island, right there on the coast. And we were going to the beach on the regular. But after that movie, I would step maybe 2 toes in the water after seeing Jaws. Scared the shit out of me.
Larry's asking if it was Martha's Vineyard.
It is Martha. It's a specific community in Martha's Vineyard, and I can't remember what it was called. Something Island. But anyhow.
And I sorry, I was looking it up when you were talking about this this tweet from or super chat from Spencer. Did you mention that we did have affiliate groups?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I thought I heard you say that, but I wanted to just follow it up. I'm not saying that there's an affiliate group anymore.
I don't know if there is.
I think the affiliates kind of fizzled out and just sort of merged all together as one big conglomerate. There's like an 86th Street.
They're still there. They're still there.
What?
They're still affiliate groups.
Oh
yeah. They all have Brickyard Battalion in their name. The one from Muncie was from Ball State back in 2012 to 2014. I don't know if they still exist.
It was Amity Island.
Thank you, Amity Island. Thank you so much, Nye Michaels. Or is it Nye? Is that a camel in the photo?
That's Never Ending Story, man. That's
okay. It looks like a
dog right there.
It looks like a camel's nose, but
Falcor.
It's very small on my screen. All right. So what else we got? I guess we'll move on from sharks.
All right. I need to bounce out of that.
By the way,
gonna jump right in. Oh, good. Sorry.
Not really that big of a worth of a watch. Jesse Marsh, and on the CBS show with Kate and Davies and Clint. I mean, it's amusing, but if you think you're really going to learn anything new, like the biggest, most interesting part of that interview is when you find out that Jesse was upset with Charlie at one point and called him because Charlie said that Jesse Marsh would not be the best pick as the next U.S. men's national team manager because he is like Berhalter. He's a systems guy. I would have liked to have heard how that discussion went. We only got to hear that there was a discussion that Jesse did call Charlie, but then Mo Adu interrupts and asks some stupid lame-ass question. And so we don't get to hear the details of how that call went. Sure. I wanted to hear Marsh say, well, for the national team, you can't be a systems guy. That's what I would have liked to have heard from Jesse, because right now I don't want anything to do with Jesse Marsh as the manager of the national team, because the last thing we need is another systems guy. So anyhow, I mean, it's still a fun watch, but all the juicy bits you think they would be talking about, they never really get to. I might as well just ask him, hey, Jesse, what's your favorite color? Because that's about how deep some of the questions were.
Well, it's not going to be your favorite segment of the show, but it's an offshoot of this, and we're still working on getting an intro for it.
Okay.
We're gonna cover a quick dual nat panic.
Dual nat panic. Dual nat panic. Dual nat panic. Cap him now. Hey. There we go. It's a brand new one. You could cut that. Nathaniel Brown, 20, has been in contact with the U.S. men's national team staff from both senior and U23 teams. He is eligible for the Olympics. Nathan remains open to both. The United States and Germany, currently playing for Nuremberg on loan from Frankfurt. Nathan plays as a left back. He has also played CDM in the past. Yeah, well, we would probably be looking at him as depth at left back more than likely. The interesting thing, of course, Frankfurt bought him and then loaned him straight back to Nuremberg in this holiday window transfer season. So we'll see what happens. Yes, somebody to keep an eye on, but no one to panic about. He's not exactly going to play for the German national team anytime soon. Although the German national team does stink. So there's that. Maybe there's actually hope that he could play on that team. But right now, we've got a lockdown left back, and yes, he could get injured. So worth keeping an eye on this guy because I didn't see that Lund even played this weekend for Palermo. So he didn't even make the squad. He might be injured for all I know.
Well, he's part of the 60-man. We'll get to that in just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just quickly pulling up Mr. Brown's transfer market just to take a look to see what he's done in the past for national team wise. And it looks like he's only ever played for the U21 German team.
Yeah. Again, lots of players play for the German youth teams.
Yeah.
Well, I was doing research like 6 years ago and looking at all the youth players, and it's a lot like our youth system. Like from the U15 to U21s, you get like 100 different players on that list, hundreds of players, and then different call-ups, different times, depending on where the player's at, how well they're doing. So it's a long list, and just because he's played for the German U21s, it's nothing to panic over, and it certainly isn't a defining situation for him. He's still very much open to doing whatever is best for him, really, in the end. Okay.
Well,
That was
we've only got like 2 topics to cover tonight.
okay.
And both are going to be lengthy, I'm sure. We got our Yanks Abroad topic, and we got the preliminary one. Which one do you want to do first?
Yeah, let's do preliminary because I haven't seen it, and now I'm curious.
Fair enough.
Larry,
real quick before you read this, we're going to quickly go over we don't actually have to go over the list. We're going to go over the list, and I got some nice slides set up. So I'm not even going to show him the below pictures.
Okay.
We're just going to bounce into some stuff.
Okay. So we're not going to see the list of players?
Correctamundo.
We're
breaking that. We're going to break it down by position.
Oh, perfect.
So here's go ahead and read this.
Okay. Larry Henry Jr., I'd like to say is a friend of the show. The U.S. men's national team 60-player preliminary roster for March's CONCACAF Nations League Final Four has been announced. Greg Berhalter's 23-player final roster must come from this group of players. A lot of the expected stars and even some young prospects moving up in the ranks. Okay, that's totally expected.
I do want to say, and I'll show you one thing real quick, that there seems to be 2 lists on here.
Okay.
And they're both alphabetized. So there's one list that's alphabetized up until player 30. And then from 31 on, it starts completely over and alphabetized.
Is this U.S. soccer fucking up again?
I don't know. But as you can see right here, it goes from right to Paxton Aronson. So it's like there's a 30-man list that was initially picked, it seems like.
Oh.
That's my thought process, because why would you possibly provide a list where there seems to be a 30 and then 30 more players added on?
Yeah, we'll throw the other guys a bone. Here are the 30 we actually want, and then this next 30 are just guys who are throwing a bone.
Because it's a bit strange when you start looking at some of the people included in that first 30.
Yeah.
But who in the second 30 would replace him, I don't know. But it's just like maybe there's so many of this player than there is of this type of player. But we'll go into that here.
Okay.
Oh, that is not the one I wanted. I wanted this one.
Okay. Greg the Wizard and a Star Trooper.
He's a robot.
Oh.
He's a robot. No, just a robot.
Okay.
Like, AI or whatever. It's RoboBob. RoboBob comes up with his list. A lot of them are predictable. We do this all the time. Although we got called out for, thinking that we know better than everybody when it comes to calling out these lists.
Oh, well, by the same crazy person, though.
I know he's making every show today, or this like the last 3-4 shows.
Yeah, it's like he doesn't watch the shows, though, because then he accuses us of things like, you guys wanted Reyna to play out wide during the World Cup. And it's like, no, dumbass.
Yeah.
We knew MMA was starting. So, and we were going to play a 4-3-3. And so we had to find a spot for Reyna to play in. So we picked right wing because Pulisic ain't coming out. And that was just...
Yeah. There's a part of me that thinks that Colin is just a giant troll. And he's trolling us. Because that last tweet about you, me, Tact, and Pete, couldn't be any further from the truth.
Yeah, it's like he doesn't watch any of the shows, that he's just spazzing in his own trousers. And that's fine, but it is worrying. Like Pete lives in the same city with this nutcase. This guy's nuts. We don't know what he would do because he's so unstable. I don't think he's trolling at all. I think he's seriously unstable. All right. That's my opinion. Goalies, from my experience with them, first 30 were Horvath and Turner. So those are the guys we suspect are really in the team, although they do have to bring a third. And then they pick Calendar. Cochin's too young yet. Slonina, maybe. Johnson? Seriously? Still?
Yeah.
Wow. Schulte and Stefanen, based on the way Stefan played this weekend in Colorado, who, by the way, suck. They are awful. I don't know if he's going to make this team. Because
first day jitters, maybe hopefully for that team. Because, I mean, they spent a lot of money, brought a lot of players back in.
Dude, who's the coach?
Pablo
Mastroianni. And I'm not going to say anything personally bad about Pablo because I loved him as a player. But as a manager, he's about as predictable as vanilla ice cream when you order it. You know exactly what you're getting. And it's old Red Bull pressing. Bullshit. It doesn't work. They got clowned. And by the way, your homeboy, Mihailovic, looked like straight up turd on a stick. So that was a lot of wasted money.
Time to rebound eventually, I'm sure.
Man, if he's he needs to go find the ball, dude.
He's still jet lagged.
Yes, it's got something's lagging. That's for sure. So what we're saying? Yeah,
you got 60 players. Why in the world would you ever need to list 8 goalkeepers here? I mean, it's 60. We already know that 37 are not even going to make the final roster.
Does Johnson really need a reach around at this point? Seriously?
I don't even think Stefan needs one. You can take those 2 players off and call in 2 players that are left off.
I mean, I can understand having Stefan on there. At least.
I don't.
Johnson's done, though. I mean, he's done. Can we take him off the stove, please? All right, let's stop cooking with Johnson. He was never that great of a cook to begin with. So I don't get it. I don't know why you use 8.
I think we don't need to include Stefan, quite frankly. We got 2 U20 or U23s. We got a U20. We got calendars 26? 26, something like that.
Yeah.
And then we got Horvath and Turner. I mean, why in the world would you need to include? I mean, they're not going to get together and do a camp anyways. But I know they're there in case injuries occur. But why would you need 8?
Yeah, 8 seems like a little excessive. I still would have kept Calendar on there, Slonina, and I would have kept Stefan. But that's
I think the coaching inclusion in the 60 is literally just say, hey, we're keeping tabs on
everybody. Give me a break. Yeah, that's a total tip of the hat to a kid.
It really is.
He's
what, like 17?
17 years old. What do you give him credit for? The friendly against goddamn Miami?
Yeah. Well,
the Barcelona game? Is that where he's earning this?
People are saying that Spain's going after him, I guess.
Okay. Well, no dual net panic yet there. I mean, it's a little young. They have amazing goalkeepers in Spain.
And he's only ever played with our U17s, if I recall correctly.
That's right. So let's just chill out. Everybody chill out. Coaching he's fine. He's going to play for us. If he's good enough, he's 17. We don't know. How many young, great goalkeepers in our day, Brett, have we watched play on the U17 squad or like Alex Porto, even when he came out? Oh, Alex Porto, he's the bomb. Well, okay. He's at the U21s at Fulham, and he's never really, I don't know. He's never really made an argument he should be considered anything. And he's older than Cochin. I think he's older than fucking Slonina, actually, or the same age.
We were all hyping up Adunze too. Is it Adunze?
Yep.
Yeah, we were hyping up him. He got a couple senior call ups, in some of those Euro friendlies that happened early in Berhalter's tenure.
Who's the Mexican American kid who picked Mexico instead of us after playing for us, and now he's out of a career? No, goalkeeper. The guy with bad temper, motherfucker. Yeah. So
he's the goalkeeper. He's the goalkeeper for a USL 1 team.
I don't know.
Goalkeeper coach.
He's
at
a
23.
Coach. At 23, what's going on there? But he made some very poor and rash decisions. And he was always kind of a big mouth on the field. And, you let it slip for a while. You're like, well, at least he's just fiery. He's fiery. He's got a fire in his belly. But,
I was talking about when he was still with us and he was drop kicking the ball into the audience behind his goal after a game and doing stuff. I'm like, I kind of like the whole heel option. The guy that's going to rile up the audience. It's a heel, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it's personality. I like it. It's fine. Then he switched over to Mexico. I'm like, what an asshole.
Yeah. It's like being a jackass or being a whatever you want to call it on occasion may make you look like, you're just a fiery dude. But then when it's really something that you do consistently and you're rash and your coaches don't like you very much and some of your teammates don't like you either. Yeah, there's probably an issue. Anyhow, well, that's okay. We'll move on to the next position, I guess.
No, Cho wasn't in our Gold Cup squad. He was in our Nations League squad, but he didn't play. And that was a big reason why he made the switch. He talked about how he didn't get to play at all, even in that Costa Rica friendly afterwards.
Right.
But he did assist us in losing out in the Olympic run.
Yes.
I think he had a boneheaded play that let Honduras score 1 goal in the quarters or whatever that was, or the semis or whatever.
He had talent. I don't know if he's going to make a comeback or what, but
that's kind of tough at this point, man. You flame out of MLS because personality conflicts. You go to Mexico, you go all the way to Mexico too, and then now you're keeper coach for a USL team. I don't think there's a rebound.
All right. I haven't paid much attention to him, so since he picked Mexico. All right. It's because that's where my interest stopped. Left back. The first 30 are London Jedi, so we know they're in. And the second 30 is Wiley, and that's all.
That's all. But we have 8 goalkeepers. But let's be frank, 2 of our right backs, especially starters, are considered left back options.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's because we're panicking about our goalkeepers, rightly so. So it's just like, let's pick a bunch of them. Then we got a big bunch to pick from. Oh, my God. Panic. That Turner's horrible all of a sudden.
So Fumar does say trust he can left back too. He can. I'm sure. Yeah, he can play out there. And Richards has played left center back, which is more or less that kind of a position. He's not going to move up in the attack by any means. And Paredes is not going to be playing a Jedi replacement anytime soon. He's going to be a winger option all the way. I don't know why they keep throwing him on defense. He's never going to play defense.
Trusty is not really a left back. He played there in a pinch. He's played left center back. That's more his thing. Although this weekend he played center back, right in the middle of the center backs, back three. But no, I mean, he's not a guy you want playing left back. The guy is not going to get up and down the wing for you. He's mostly defensive. It's not like he's going to be blistering crosses in. He's not going to be doing Jedi things at all. I wouldn't play him. I wouldn't pick him. I wouldn't waste a pick as a left back on Trusty.
Yeah, so Death plays left back, obviously at PSV, which is what I was kind of alluding to by saying 2 of our starting option right backs, because Scally can play left back too.
Scally just did play left back this weekend for Gladbach. There you go.
So this is one of the few positions where the first 30 are going to be the go-to 2 options.
Right,
it's going to be Lund, it's going to be Jedi. It's no question. And Wiley doesn't stand a chance.
And this isn't our first 30. This is how they accidentally published it.
Yeah. Yes.
They didn't.
I'm going to reiterate this because there's 121 people watching. I just want you to know that when I say first 30 and second 30, there are 2 different lists on the release.
They usually don't do it this way. They accidentally publish this in 2 lists. One as the first 30, which these are guys that are definitely making the team probably. And then the second 30 are just guys that you're throwing a milk bone. You're like, good boy.
Injuries, yeah.
Good boy.
Well, they will be backups. Let me rephrase that.
Here's a milk bone. All right.
So nothing to talk about left back. Left back's fine. Nothing to talk about there.
Right back. The first 30 listed were Destin Scally, as is predictable. If, they didn't know they were giving things away. Obviously, Brett's done some investigatory work here on this and said, this is, wow.
Well, I do want to say other people pointed it out. I think even Larry mentioned that there's an A and a B squad there, which kind of looks like it to an extent, but there's some extensive amount of like when we get up to the strikers, there's going to be question marks there and how many there are, but we'll get to that.
Man, that's a lot of right backs, man. They're like boom, 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 boom. Right backs all over the wall.
Do we really need to see more Cannon, Moore, and Yedlin at this point?
No more. No, thank you. No more Yedlin.
We can probably talk about Cannon. Cannon's at least playing for a weak side in championship, right?
Well, he was playing up until the last 2 weekends. Now he's not starting anymore. But Jermaine Jones, I like seeing him back on this, but as a right back, I don't get it.
Little old, but I mean, it doesn't matter how quick he runs. He's got great positional awareness.
I see that loyalty to U.S. Soccer has done him well. No, we know it's DeJuan Jones before anybody gets upset. This is a joke. Okay, I'm fine with DeJuan Jones being on here and Cannon and Reynolds, but Moore and Yedlin can go take a bus to Miami. I have no need to see any more of them.
I mean, again, do we need to even include them? I mean, how many people would have to get injured before we're sitting there going like, well, I guess Moore and Yedlin are 23? Right?
Yeah, I mean, even in order, this is Dest, Scally, Reynolds, Cannon, Jones, Yedlin, Moore. But not for Greg. I'm sure Moore is right up there behind Scally and Dest for him.
He literally said it because he was like, yeah, this will be our chance to take a look at Moore as a replacement for Dest.
Because nothing makes Greg jizz in his pants as much as thinking about Shaquille Moore. Yeah.
So, again, the two for right back were guarantees. We already knew that.
Did you create this Greg AI yourself?
I did, yes.
I see you didn't use Gemini.
No. he's got a natural tan about him right now, though. Little bronze. He's bronze.
Not. Greg's not Asian in this AI depiction. All right. And I'm all for inclusion, by the way. I think yes, everybody should be included in an AI generator. But listen, when you're so bad that you can't even get something like the basics right, because you're so.
Did you mention like the founding fathers or something like that?
Well, when inclusion becomes exclusion, that's not really inclusion. Inclusion means everyone's in. And that's not what happened there. It was inclusion of all others, but, the white guys with white wigs on or whatever, apparently. And I only watched a couple shows on it on YouTube, the review shows of it, and it was pretty hilarious. They were trying all they could to get this thing to make, one of their founding fathers, and they just couldn't simply get it to do it. They were all Asian or they were Pakistani, it was weird. It's like, it's not a founding father of the United States. There was no Pakistani who founded the United States of America. Isn't DeJuan Jones a left back? He can play left back, so that's fine. Yes,
he's a right-footed player, and he probably plays left back in a pinch. Probably because he plays in New England, right?
Yeah, he plays left back regularly for New England. So,
sure.
But for us, maybe right back or left back, it doesn't seem to make a difference. Center back is so few. Holy criminese! This is very, very thin. But CCV seems to make this team ream. CCV came back. I think he played some minutes off the bench this weekend. Richards, which it better be on here, the way Chris Richards played this last game for Crystal Palace. Miles Robinson, it's another jizz in your pants guy for Greg Berhalter. And then Austin Trusty, who certainly earned at least this look because, you can't play every single game for your Premier League club, even though they're a glorified championship team, and not get at least a look.
Yeah, and he did it. He did it at Sargent, so.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just saying, remember, you guys also have to remember this is the first 30 is going to get whittled down by 7 players. So you may be asking, why would we include 5 center backs?
Yeah.
The Nations League. Well, we want one of these guys are going to go bye-bye.
Yeah, one of them's going bye-bye. And these second 30 guys, I can guarantee you on this, the Brooks thing was just, hey, we got to put Brooks on there, dude. We got to at least have him in the shit list, B team list.
So I want to quickly jump back to the actual list itself, and I mentioned there are 2 teams. Tell me what you noticed down here at the bottom. So here's Zendejas, Zimmerman, and at 59 we got Brooks. And then come on, go. But
what?
You notice a break? Oh
again? My God!
They got to 58 players. They're like, well,
just throw them on.
Let's put Brooks in there. Okay.
Along with that Bernard kid from DC or from Dallas. My God. Could they make it even more obvious that he was thrown on there last?
And it's one of those things I'm looking at it going, now, did they just throw it on there to sort of like try to hush up the critics by simply saying, no, he's being looked at. Look, he's on the 60.
No, if you're an idiot if you still think that Brooks has any chance at making any team. And by the way, he had a pretty solid game this weekend against Dortmund, and they beat Dortmund. But
Suck it. Terzik's on the hot seat again. But the board came back out, or board, whoever it was, came back out and says that the firing of him is probably not in the cards unless it's continuing downward trajectory.
Brooks, on the other hand, did have an error in the game, which we'll talk about later. But for the most part, he played left center back all game, and he's does what he does. He's the main distributor out of the back three. He's the only one kicking it forward out of their back three on a regular basis.
That's also a great point. His job probably. He also is on the hot seat, despite the fact that his team is currently sitting like at 8th.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, I don't know. Look at Gladbach right now. Yes, they did just pull out a what was it, a tie?
Oh, I thought was a 5-2 win or whatever last week?
Yeah, no, this weekend. I know that PFOC scored. I can't remember the final score of the game.
5-2.
They won. It was a much
5-2 over Bochum.
Yeah, it was a much needed win. And but you know, if Farke is still at Gladbach, are they struggling at near the bottom of the table this season? I don't think so. I really don't. But look what Daniel Farke is doing right now with Leeds. Leeds just beat Leicester. And Farke is a really good manager. I don't know what Gladbach are thinking.
It's questionable with Norwich in the Premier League, but that could just be the team itself, though.
Well, no, but he did get them promoted, right? And then
was he the promoter?
Yeah, he was the promoting manager for Norwich that got him to the Premier League, and then they didn't really spend effectively. Hell, if one of your shining spots of signings is Sargent and his teammate at Werder Bremen, that schmuck. Yeah, that guy was a piece of garbage. So anyhow, yeah, don't be fooled by the Brooks thing, people. Anybody out there saying, see, he's okay with Brooks, don't buy it. He was listed next to last.
Well, Derek, you know Twitter. You know how it's going to happen. People are absolutely going to use that as a see. He's in the hunt. People are going to be trying to use that as a gotcha against those of us who've been saying like he's got it out for Brooks. Now again, and he's had some good parts of the season. He's had some bad parts of the season. He hasn't started every single game, and he started a lot of games.
He started 80% of the games.
Is he our top 4 center back option?
Maybe. I think he is. I think he's there before Miles Robinson.
I was supposed to say I'd probably take him over Robinson.
Yeah. So, you know, yeah. So don't be fooled by that. Brooks is still an outcast. He was a total afterthought on this list, and they couldn't make it any more apparent the way they published it. Midfield, first 30, Brendan Aronson, Adams, Cardoso, Luca De La Torre, McKennie, Musa, Tessman, Tillman. Yep. Before Maloney?
Yep. Maybe it was the typo, but no, they had it listed out first name too, so both Tillmans are on it.
Wow. Well, that's giving
Camp Cupcake made an impact with Berhalter on that one.
That's given Timothy a lot of credit for having a good start to the last season with LA and then ending this season in a total fizzle. And you don't need to replicate what Malik. You don't need 2 Maliks there, and that's basically what you're going to get. Same player, just one's much more skilled and better than the other. But maybe they don't want another defensive midfielder. But you might have to bump Maloney up because there's no guarantee Adams is going to be healthy enough to make this squad.
Yeah, and it boggles my mind that Timothy was included in the first 30. And again, we're all assuming that since there's 2 separate lists alphabetized, that this meant that he picked the 30 that he's gauging his picks from and going from there. That somehow Timothy has earned it over Maloney is just mind-boggling.
Yeah, again, the only way that that's the case is if they're like, well, we already have Cardoso and Adams. We don't need another center defensive killer.
We don't have Adams. I don't even know why Adams is in the first 30. He should be in the second as an option if he's viable, but he should not be considered as a go-to for the Nations League. He hasn't played a fucking match yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why are we including? How long from now? It's like what, a couple, 3, maybe what, 4 weeks from now?
Mm-hmm.
Means he gets 4 weeks of practice time, maybe a couple bit minutes here and there. He's not going to be ready for a game day 23. No way. Boost him out, boost Timothy, and push them down to the 30 just in case people get injured. Bring in Maloney and I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe Luna. Fuck. Let's bring Luna in.
At least they got the Tessman Busio picks right.
But if we bring Luna in, that'd be 3 attacking midfield type players.
Yeah, I don't think that's
Well,
gonna.
you might notice a glaringly missing name here.
Oh my God, where's Reyna?
Oh, he's listed as a forward again. I didn't move him, but here's the other kicker. I'm gonna ruin this for you because it's we'll keep it on there because we'll still talk about some midfield here. Asmir is also listed as a midfield option. I moved him to forward. The 18-year-old kid from New England.
Oh,
he was listed in the second 30. Wait, no, hold on. No, he was listed in the first 30 for midfield.
weird.
So I moved him to striker or forwards because that's where he'll play. He won't play in the midfield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you have Tillman and you have Esmir being plugged into the first 30 a list.
Yeah, this is weird because really both Tillman brothers can play CAM, and you know that if we're sticking with the 4-2-3-1, maybe we're not. Maybe we're not. Maybe we're not doing that. So that leaves Reyna only option to play out wide again.
Well, and and I would say that he has a tendency of putting Reyna's name out wide and then playing him in the midfield. But I think the last couple windows, Reyna has been listed as a midfielder.
He has.
So is this any indication, or is this just we pulled up the list from Germany?
No, I think this is all intentional. Really, I do. And I do think if Reyna is listed as a forward, they're going back to a 4-3-3. They don't do anything by accident except for publish a list on accident.
Well, and looking at the list provided here, you're looking at a bunch. I mean, why is Brendan Aronson in the midfield? I mean, I know he always gets listed there, but he's a winger. He's a winger. He should be in the forward list.
Right.
He was there.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Right. This is a very non-creative outside of Tillman, Malik. Outside of Malik, it's a very dry, very I'm going to outrun your ass in the midfield with some creativity. I mean, McKinney can lay the ball, but he's not, generally speaking. I mean, he's changing. I'm gonna take that back, but he's not the Reyna Malik type of attacking midfielder. Is what I'm saying.
He's definitely evolving as a player, McKinney, into a much more creative player. There's no doubt about that. So, yeah, I mean, and based on how he plays at times for Juventus, he could actually play out wide too. But they're not going to do that. Greg's not going to do that. So, yeah, it's disheartening to see Reyna not listed as a midfielder here. That means something's going on. That means the plan as of now is probably to play a 4-3-3.
And I'm kind of surprised he's got Booth listed as a viable second option on the second 30.
And as a midfielder, is it Taylor?
Yeah, it's Taylor.
Okay. It can't be the other Booth brother.
Exactly.
So he's in no way, well, he could play center attacking mid, but he's a winger, and he plays winger for his club team 99% of the time he's on the pitch.
And he's injured for like a couple of weeks, 3 or 4 weeks or whatever.
Yeah, he's not making this team either.
Not making this team.
So this is just a milk bone. This is a reach around for him, saying, good work.
All this is that Greg, after say 35 or 40 players, Greg is like, this is getting difficult for me to pick another player. We'll just put Booth's name on there. Greg, he's injured. It won't matter. We're not going to get that far in this.
Exactly. Let's put Adams on here. He's probably not going to be ready to play. Yeah, but you know what? He's a good vibes guy. We got to bring him. And then the Timothy Tillman one is baffling. Absolutely baffling. And Maloney being this far down the list is baffling too.
Well, I feel like, and I really do think that Greg put a lot of a lot into it when it came to the Camp Cupcakes. He had those guys for a couple weeks. Then he played one game. And I wouldn't even say Timothy's game was that great by any means.
Kellen Acosta. Yes. Aiden Morris. Yeah. Aiden Morris is a solid ass MLS player. But neither
peak, yes.
And Acosta has been in the past a super solid MLS player. And he's really good at set pieces. But other than that, I'm not going to worry about it because they're listed in the second 30. So this is just throwing a bone out. That's all. Throwing a bone.
Yeah.
Because some of the guys listed in the first 30 are going to have to go anyhow. They can't bring this many midfielders.
Oh, of course, yeah. So we know Timothy's going to be gone. We know probably Testament is gone, is my guess. Aronson's going to be in the striker pool in the end.
Forwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, that's interesting. Forwards, Balogun, Pepe, Pulley, Reyna, Sarge, Esmir Baratarovic, Pifak, Vasquez, Weah, right. And about two of these guys are going to, well, no. About 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 maybe guys will make it off of that list. So somebody's going to have to go.
There's definitely going to be 6, but I almost, well, again, unless he stands firm with Brandon being in the midfield option.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think that he would be in this list as well. So you know Pepe and Balogun is probably going to be the guaranteed striker pool. We know Poliwea. And then let's just swap BA and Reyna. So this would be BA. And then you'd have Wright or Sargent, really, at that point.
God, do you think they've been around long enough they would have figured this out already? Which makes me really believe they're going to play a 4-3-3. I'm sorry, but I think that's what's going to happen.
Farrell says Esmir over Paredes. Well, Paredes was listed as a defender. And I moved him up here because this is where he's going to play. He's not going to play as a back. It's not going to happen. That's not Berhalter ball. It's not going to happen.
Right.
And again, Esmir was in the midfield originally. I moved him up here because, again, he's not going to be in the midfield. He's going to be on the wing.
Yeah. I mean, even the game he played for us, he played right winger.
Yeah.
I was very impressed.
Well, good. I would like to see more of him.
He and Luna were the only two guys that really impressed me during that game. And the rest of it is just free cookies. Participation trophies for Jordan Morris and Ferreira, and
I can't believe Morris was even included.
Had a rough start to the season already, huh?
Doesn't matter. He was toast by the end of last year. This is not a thing. This is Berhalter going. I don't even know who to call. Have we scouted more than 40 players in this pool?
I think that he probably said, well, let's fill out and get as many MLS guys on this list of 60. So, MLS and Don Garber don't get all upset and shit. But, I mean, only Miles Robinson's going to make it.
Yeah.
I think. Only Miles Robinson's going to make it as an MLSer on this roster. I mean, how can there be snubs from a 60-man roster? We don't have a pool of 30-plus that are international level. Yeah, I'd have to agree that after about 23, it starts to get a little bit sketchy. I
did respond here, though. We added coaching. Why not Dietz? Brady over Johnson. Why is Johnson, Jordan Morris, Yedlin there? There's some fat in this roster that could be trimmed for, at a minimum, a sample nod towards.
Yeah,
why are we including these guys who we already know what they can provide, and there's never going to be enough injuries that we're ever going to have to rely on them again for this Nations League Cup. So why are we including them?
So here you have Green and Dietz at Greuther Fürth fighting for promotion into Bundesliga, and they don't even get a milk bone for their performances this season. That seems like an oversight. I mean, you don't really need some of the midfielders you listed. So why not throw Green a bone, and why not throw Maximilian Dietz a bone?
Larry showed a snippet of Green's transfer market showing that he's been playing defensive or defensive mid recently. I mean, that's
not really true. They play sort of a flat midfield.
I'm not spacing Green's name, first name, Julian.
Julian. I don't think he's defensive. He doesn't seem. And later in the games, he seems to go much further forward.
He's more of a center midfielder.
He's an 8. He's an 8, not a 6. Although he has played as defensive midfielder, as this shows, but he's mostly just a center midfielder, a standard box-to-box midfielder. And he is how old now? 28?
Yeah.
Maybe it's his age, but not for Dietz. Dietz is still a young player. Maybe he's an Olympics guy to them. I don't think that Greuther Fürth are going to release him to play in the Olympics.
Thank you. That's the big thing that we thought when we talk about the players. Like a lot of people are like, well, it looks like an A squad and basically more or less a U23 Olympic squad. I'm like, a lot of those players probably aren't going to get released anyways.
Correct.
So
right. Yeah, don't even think of that second 30 as Olympic fodder because we've got Leagues Cup going on.
Yep.
And Griffin Yao, as an example, is a player who's really, really important to his team. They're not going to let him go to the Olympics and get injured.
Yeah, no.
Reynolds, no way. Or Westerlo letting him go to go play in the Olympics. They need him.
And I had this conversation with somebody else on Twitter about Gaga and Cochin. And like, well, which one do you think might get called up and which one do you think is going to go to the Olympics? And I go, I mean, I think Greg will probably call, maybe if I have to take any form of money, I'm going to say, or place any money on, I'm going to say Gaga may get called into Copa as the third. But he's not going to rely on him being able to go to the Olympics because Chelsea doesn't have to release him. Neither does Barcelona with Cochin.
Right.
Whatever his name is pronounced.
I think it's Cochin.
Okay.
Antonio Banderas should be an actor with that name. Who the fuck is Yao? Well, Griffin Yao plays for Westerlo along with Brian Reynolds. He's had a very good season. He's a starter. He wasn't somebody we've been paying attention to him, but it's not somebody that a lot of people pay attention to when they look at Westerlo. They usually
look at Reynolds.
Yeah, they're just watching for Reynolds when they should be also watching for Yao, who's had a good season. Kamungo plays for Dallas.
Yep. He played in Camp Cupcake. If you watched Antonio, he played out wide right, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I mean, they must see something there that we're not seeing. I'm sure he's a fine MLS player and prospect, but is he U.S. men's national team quality? No.
It definitely that Camp Cupcake wasn't a bad game by him, but it wasn't a standout performance that you'd hope for with the young prospect in this chance.
Nobody played good except for Bakhtarovich and Luna. That's it.
That's my take on it for the most part.
Yep. And then Luna, so far this MLS season, I've watched 2 games, played really good in one and played kind of flat in the other. So that's the thing about Luna we discussed years ago or a year ago is we need to see consistency out of him at MLS, especially if he wants to make the jump abroad that he's talked about. He can't be on fire one game and then just disappear the other. Now, part of that is the problem where they're playing him. They're playing him out wide left. That's stupid. That's dumb MLS management, but it's so predictable. So 60 players, so tough to say. Some got snubbed, but here it goes. I'm going to have to say Chris Brady, not really. Jalen Neal.
Well, again, remember that we're talking about this as kind of a mix between an A squad, B squad, and then a U23 almost. Only the reason I would say Chris Brady got snubbed is because Johnson's included. Even Stephen's included. I can understand why Stephen would go over Brady because there's history there. But Johnson, I mean, seriously.
Yeah, but you could also pick another goalkeeper instead of Brady, too.
Sure.
Yep. So,
bring in what's his face from Cincy? Celentano.
Right.
There's a snub.
You can't call that a snub. Like, a snub is like somebody who should have been on the list but isn't. And that's not somebody that has to necessarily be on the list. Like, there's a snub is this guy should have been on the list and he was left off. That's a snub. Jalen Neal still coming back from serious injury. Matt Miazga. Well, we know the history between Greg and Matt. They don't get along. James Sands. And you can't call Matt Miazga a snub, by the way, because again, Miles Robinson is the MLS rep on that list, and there are no other reps on that list from MLS.
On the 30?
Yep.
Right.
That center back, there aren't any others, as far as I remember. James Sands, not a snub. Not a snub.
He could be there over Timothy, in my opinion.
Yeah, but he could be in there over a lot of other people, but it's not a snub that he's not on the list. It's not like, oh my God, James Sands didn't make the 60.
Well, we are talking about 60, man. And much to Greg's issue there, when it comes to like after 40, you're sitting there going like, who the fuck am I going to put on this list? I mean, some of those names you're sitting there going like, well, I think James Sands would be a more reliable option over this person or this person.
Yeah, but it's not a snub, I don't think. It's just he forgot about him. It's not like James Sands has made a raging, roaring case that he has to be on the 60. That's what I need for it to be a snub. Now, could it be an oversight or okay, yeah, I could see he could make the list, but he was left off. That's not really a snub, yeah. Brett, are you stupid? Sands ain't on Tillman's level. Timothy Tillman, they're different players, first of all. True. James Sand is a defensive-minded player. He's not a guy, he can play center back, he can play center defensive midfielder, right back, but he's not comparable to Tillman because Timothy Tillman is a much more aggressive player. Tillman was best in Camp Cupcake, but everyone hates his guts. I don't know why they hate his guts.
And he certainly wasn't best in Camp Cupcake.
Yeah, I don't think he was best. But
I mean, you could say that he would probably be in the top 3 or 4. I don't know. I liked what I saw from McGlynn in his limited minutes more so than Tillman.
Yeah, it's hard to pick winners from that game.
Yeah,
to be honest with you, it was so poor. Jack McGlynn, not really a snub.
No, I again just wanted to reiterate that he easily could have been on that 60. Should be on the 60. And I did watch Chicago versus Philly game, primarily because of Chicago. But then also I found out obviously I knew McGlynn was starting, and then Sullivan was starting. Quinn, guy who I was like, I wasn't overly impressed with that U23 qualifiers. You kind of bagged on him. I gotta say, man, Sullivan has stepped up his game. He was dangerous in that match, but it's MLS, so I'm not 100% positive how that translates overall. We'll probably see him in the Olympics because Philly's cool with releasing players,
right?
So
unless they're in Leagues Cup and he is such an important player, then they're not going to let him go.
It's true. He should have had 2 assists, but man, they had 2 offside goals called back.
Yeah, but not a snub. Not a snub anyhow. I know you're putting in good words for some of these players, but it's not a snub.
I mean, yeah, they're trying. Again, it's 60 players. It's so tough to say some got snubbed, but here it goes. That's basically what he's saying. Also,
right? Yeah.
And while we're on the Chicago versus Philly game, let's talk about Brian. I guess I'll talk about Brian briefly. Got a goal and an assist. It was a hell of a match for him. He looked good, looked comfortable in the box, calm and collect.
Oh yeah, he was on Keith's top 10 list.
Yeah, sucks that he was that he re-signed for another 2 years, but.
I watched 3 MLS games. Every single MLS game I watched this weekend ended 0-0. All 3.
I was annoyed. I knew the Chicago game ended in 2-2, so I already went into the game knowing what I was expecting. We lost in the 95th minute. We drew in the 95th minute. It felt like a loss.
Yeah. Wait a minute. The LA Galaxy game did not end 0-0, so that was the only one I watched. That
was perfect timing right there because Broken just said, Derek, did you watch a Galaxy game?
Yeah. I mean, Yeah, good comeback, I guess. I mean, listen, that Paint Still guy looks like the real deal. I will say that much. And they stole him from Belgium. Genk. He was Mackenzie's teammate, I think. And he's looking really good. Brokas Pukstas, I don't know if you can call that a snub. I think that he could have a future with us. He's a young guy.
He needs to get called up is what he needs to do.
He needs to get the fuck out of where he is now in Croatia.
Yeah.
Although it's not a bad team by any means. I'm not saying that. It's the best team in his country or in the country, but still, time to move on and prove it somewhere else besides Croatia. Although I know they played Euroball too, but still. Eric Williamson really liked his play this weekend, so I lied. There's another game that had goals in it. But I did watch at least, so I must have watched 5 games this weekend of MLS games. So Eric Williamson scored this weekend, and it was a great goal. And I like Eric Williamson a lot, but let's be really fair here. He just got back from injury after 9 months, year of being
how old
on the
is he at
bench.
this point, man?
He's got to still be in his mid-20s, 26.
It's got to be like 26, 27 range.
Yeah, he's not that old, but
He was in the Gold Cup. I think he was like 24 at the time, and that was like 3 years ago.
there's a player that impresses me when he's healthy. The problem is, can Eric Williamson stay healthy? And so far, the answer has been no. He has had 2, is it ACL? In a year and a half or 2 years, two and 2 years. Jordy Mihailovic, no way was he snubbed. No way.
I saw that name too. I was like, I don't know about that one.
He's been nothing but straight up low or just at average. When he was in Europe, he was an embarrassment who didn't go to the ball, didn't take command. And now he's the big signing for the Colorado Rapids, who just got slaughtered this weekend. And they played like garbage. And he was one of the players that didn't play very well. Didn't get involved until later in the game. First half, he might as well not even have been there. Brian Gutierrez, as he said before, had a great start to the season. Emmanuel Sabi, that one you might be able to throw that in as a possible snub because he is starting for Le Havre every game. He started again this weekend. Le Havre is not a very good team, obviously, but he does start. He plays in France. Was he horrible the last time he played for us? Yeah. Did he try too hard? Yeah. So, okay. But I'll give that one like a mini snub.
I'll probably send this list as far as actual players who could stand the possibility of being called into the 23, that he probably was the most snubbed on this list.
Probably, yeah. Quinn Sullivan, not a snub. Duncan McGuire, definitely not a snub. And Nicholas Giocaccini, I don't know if anybody is checking, but since he's got Tacoma, he has rode Pine for 3 games.
God damn.
So that move, although he called it his dream move, hasn't really worked out for Giocaccini right now. A lot of warming Pine. Barely any minutes. Barely. Why? I don't know.
Teams fighting for promotion to Serie A.
Yeah, they are.
They're clearly doing it without him, and they got a viable option off the bench, I guess.
Yeah,
which has been his MO in Europe.
You don't want to rock the boat if the things are going really well and you're headed towards a promotion fight, and then you rock the boat and yank your starter off and start putting this new guy who just got there. And yeah, that could rattle a team. So yeah, they don't want to rock the boat, baby, rock the boat. Luca Coliocho is injured, so it wouldn't have mattered. He won't be back for a while either. No real surprises considering it is Berhalter. Lynn and Gooch should be on there over Yedlin and Shaq Moore. Oh, that is a good call, John Murphy. I forgot all about the Goochmeister.
That's what I said, too. I thought to myself, at least.
I mean, he's starting every game, or at least playing most of the games he's been healthy for Stoke, who are atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. Probably going to get relegated. So,
Sucks, man.
Yeah. But over Yedlin and Shaq Moore.
You had a good thing going with Sunderland, man.
Yeah, and as soon as they get promoted, they're like, we're going to get rid of you.
Yeah.
Oh, at least we'll send you to another championship team, just the worst one in the league, or near the worst one in the league.
Yeah.
Yedlin and Shaq Moore, for sure, he should have been over. There is no reason for Jordan Morris to be there at all. I feel bad for Jordan Morris. Remember, he did take the chance eventually and go over and play in the championship, where he lasted, 3 games before he busted his knee again. So, Guti, Buck, McGlynn, Neal.
We don't have to worry about Buck because we already covered everybody else on this list. Because he's the only one that wasn't included prior.
Yeah, I don't think it's a snub, a Buck. So I'm not. Listen, I like Buck. Noel Buck's got a long way to go to make a U.S. men's national team 60 roster. Maloney looks like an Arnold and Jurgen clone. Like between Schwarzenegger and Jurgen Klinsmann?
Yeah, he talks about how Maloney is a big specimen. Yes, he's a big guy. And the funny thing is, I've seen so many people on Twitter posting about like how, but he's slower. He's slower. And I don't know if anybody watched the match this week against Frankfurt. Not Frankfurt,
I did.
Berlin. He kept toe-to-toe many a time with Brendan Aronson.
Yeah, and then he got
injured. We know
injured.
how quick Brendan is, but he kept toe-to-toe with him the entire time.
And he was all over the field as usual. He actually, they put out a stat. He's run more miles than any other Bundesliga player this season. If he's slow, which I don't agree with. He's certainly smart because he's everywhere where he's needed. Usually, everywhere where he's needed.
Yeah,
you can't, and that's all you ask for in a center defensive midfielder is to be where you need to be.
So many times when covering the game day play-by-play, which when I watch a game I do it on Twitter. When I'm talking about Malone, when I watch Heidenheim, it's always like you never hear me say anything about Maloney. I'm like, well, Maloney did Maloney things, and you're never going to see his stats show up on the stat board because what he doesn't show up on a stat board.
Yep.
I mean, outside of the running, of course, but he cuts off the lanes, he applies pressure, he does recoveries. That's about the big one that's going to show up there.
Right. You can't be slow to do that.
Yeah.
Or if you are not exactly fast, you at least have to have a high soccer IQ, which he obviously has because he's everywhere where he's needed. And there's no other reason, if you asked the manager of Heidenheim why they are mid-table instead of fighting relegation this season, because they were the number 1 pick for relegation this season. And he'll tell you it's Maloney. He's the backbone and heart and soul of that team.
Yep.
And, if you can only you have to take a manager when he says that seriously, because if you watch the Heidenheim games, it's true. He's also the guy barking at everybody and telling them where to go and demanding this, and you got to come back and do that. He's obviously a leader on that team.
Well, he does the dirty work so that the other players don't have to.
Right.
I mean, is it DJ? I think it's DJ on the right. And you got Bestie on the left.
Bestie's great. I like
and
Bestie.
they have no defensive respongesponsibilities at all. And you throw that in the fact that they got a striker and they're going to have offensive-minded midfielders. They can do that because they have basically a third center back that's ruling the midfield.
Yeah. What they used to call that position? Right in front of the center backs, but behind the midfielders?
For here in the States, I'd stopper. At least it was for me.
I don't remember what we called Towns Brownlee, but he played the same role for us. I think we called him a forward sweeper, which was weird. A forward sweeper.
Strange.
He went
describing the same thing, so.
Yeah, he played right behind the midfield, and if the ball got beyond us, he was there to crush it. That was before it got to the center backs. Ashton Mook says for $5. Thank you, Ashton. We do appreciate it. Funny how Greg listed Brooks as the second to last guy on the list. We mentioned that. It's not an accident. GGG says he isn't my least favorite. Yeah, Brooks, as he sees it, sees this list. Greg's a bitch.
That's motherfucker.
I mean, seriously, when you list the guy
phone call
out of alphabetical order, which is really, really weird, and then you list him 59th, when everybody else is in alphabetical order. What?
Alphabetical order, and then you're there.
Yeah, that's a major middle finger.
You're the start of the third alphabet.
You know what that is? That's Greg and BJ sitting around, and BJ going, "Hey, Greg, just put Brooks on there just to get people off our fucking nutsack." Okay, let's do it. All right, Scorpion Larry for $2. Scorpion Larry. Derek Lexi is a better guitarist than you. I never claimed to be a great technician. I am only a great writer. I'm a way better writer. I can guarantee you that. Just go listen to my album and you'll go, well, he writes a lot better songs than fucking Alexi Lawless. That's for sure. All right. Jose Reyes for $5. I hate to say it, but Maloney right now, as the minimum, isn't doing worse than Adams. Thank you, by the way, Jose. Just saying. Also, Johnny showing he can be both creative and a dog. That's for sure. Man of the match this weekend. Again, for Johnny Cardoso.
That's the thing you can make an argument for as far as why Maloney may not necessarily be in that first 30 is because that midfield is getting awfully full.
Yeah.
But when you start including the likes of like Asmir in the midfield, you have Kellen Acosta in the last 30, but you have Timothy Tillman in there.
Yeah,
you're like, why isn't Maloney in there? In what world would both those players or one of those players be included over Maloney?
Mm-hmm. I mean, all Greg can say about that is, listen, with Adams, if Adams makes the squad.
Oh, and then Adams is there too, yeah.
Then we got Adams and we got Cardoso who can both play the 6, even though Jesse March doesn't think Cardoso can play a 6, which is, I don't know what games he's watching. Then you don't need a third one unless you need center back cover, which obviously we don't.
Yep.
So Maloney kind of gets fucked, basically.
That's what I was saying. He could be included in the 4th or 5th center back option. And then you have the option to put him in the midfield. Is say if you want to drag out a game, you're up 1, 2-1 or whatever. And, you have to finish that game off. You just throw in a defensive-minded center midfielder. That's basically a center back.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That'd be the viable option there.
All right.
Jose did have his super chat that came in there, so I wanted to pull it up. But the big one I wanted to talk about was this guy right here. Like we already covered it.
We did.
Had nothing to do with the guitarist, but it is a good transition. And thank you, Larry, for that transition into State of the Union podcast.
Has Scorpion Larry ever heard any of Lexi's music? Seriously. Could it be more white and average? All right. Seriously, there's no soul in that shit. Stu Holden on US. Okay, yes. So this is Stu.
Derek sent me this with no timestamp. So I guess we're watching. Oh, hold on a second. Jose, real quick in for 2.
My fight is that GGG likes dogs in that position.
African dogs at that.
Yeah. I mean, you only need so many on one roster, though, and that's why Maloney's getting screwed. Because you really, when it comes down to it, you're going to have 6 midfielders at best. You will have 2 CAMs, 4 box to box, and maybe, well, see, that doesn't make sense either. Because I was thinking, now that's if we play a 4-2-3-1, but now we're back to the 4-3-3. And since we probably are getting the idea now that we're going to play a 4-3-3 again instead of a 4-2-3-1, you're still only bringing 6. So
it's possible that we're reading into that where Reyna's located at and where's Brennan located at. But it could just be a logistical typo.
Had to be deliberate, Brett. I mean,
I think it is, but
yeah, I mean, they don't do that on accident usually. But
then you also have the other consideration that maybe he's looking at Tillman as playing as predominantly that center attacking option, and then you have Reyna who can either fill in the wing or as the backup to Tillman at this point.
And as mediocre as Way has been this season, I hate saying that, but
until he proves mediocre with the national team, I don't care how his club performance is. He was mediocre with who was he with earlier? Lille. He wasn't blowing it up there, and he was blowing it up in the national team. So until it's his position to lose, we'll see what happens.
Isn't it striking though when you watch McKennie play out more wide for Juventus, how much more effective they are than when Weah comes in and plays the same exact role. It's like night and day.
He's of late, of like maybe like the last 7 to 10 matches, McKinney's been in the center midfield, and you have Cambiosa.
We did this last time.
Name. Yeah, we did this last time. He's going to be he plays out right, and they flip flop from time to time, but he at least gets back to his position. Whereas Weah flip flops, never comes back.
Right, he goes and he actually pinches inside, leaving McKinney flapping in the wind as his cover for right back, where we don't see that when he's not on the pitch. Cambiaso plays more defensively, always covers his space. I was right about the Nottingham Forest move. I'm always right.
He's not injured yet, Tact.
Yeah, premature rejeculation. Their tactical manager.
And again, I've said this in a previous show. I will agree that I'm kind of leaning into Tact's position on the fact that he was brought in because of the agent is also Nuno's agent, and not necessarily that Nuno wanted him. I'm kind of leaning that way because why else would you ever bring in Yates when you're down 4-2 over Gio? And I've got video of the Forest fan TV guy asking the same fucking question.
It's super disappointing.
But we'll get into that.
Super disappointing.
Not just yet. Or
did you get a clip of that guy? What he said?
Yeah, I've got it pulled up. Yeah.
Perfect. So we will cover that, Tax. Hang with us. All right, let's listen to Stu babble.
The U.S. actually has 2 tournaments this upcoming summer. Also, the Olympics. You were part of the last U.S. team to play in the Olympics back in 2000.
Wow, that sucks for us, I guess, right?
That's sad.
You were part of the last Olympics we participated in. Like, ouch. Tact, if you want to come in, you can come in, man. I'll send you a link. Let me know. Because people are saying, bring Tact in. I don't mind it.
Tact may be just rolling by.
Yeah, I think so. Probably.
Yeah.
It's up to him. You can say yay or nay.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to have Tact on if he wants to come. But
BMR, I'm laying in bed, listening and reading.
There you go. The guy needs some rest. I mean, he puts out shows all week. Stu Holden, go ahead. We'll just play this shit.
Matt Doyle fired off some interesting posts on X this weekend.
Matt Doyle.
Musing about which striker should go to which competition. He wants to split up Balogun and Pepe so they can both start this summer. So Pepe would go to the Olympics. Balogun would be the starter in the Copa America. You've also got Josh Sargent in this mix. You've got...
Okay,
pause it. Who did he say was going to the Olympics?
Pepe. Do you really think PSV are going to let Pepe go to the Olympics? At least Greg is more realistic than this conversation already. Because Greg has come out and said, there is no guarantee that any of these teams are going to let us have any of those players for the Olympics. Yeah. And we got Leagues Cup. So we don't even know if the MLS teams are going to release players.
I'm sorry. We would talk about his time with PSV this season with an aging De Jong. De Jong's what, like 32 now? He's going to be 33 next season.
Yeah.
I mean, in what world are they going to say, hey, during preseason, yeah, you can go ahead, go to the Olympics.
And with Lang are injured, and with Chucky playing like dog poo poo, we could see Pepe start more times on the left wing. It's very possible. So no, I don't think PSV is going to release Pepe for the fucking Olympics. Matt Doyle, pull your fucking head out of your ass. And
is he quoting Doyle?
Yes. And why are we talking about this even? Just because Doyle posted on X? Doyle's, I mean, listen, Doyle gets paid by MLS. So, I mean, outside of his MLS coverage, which is very pro MLS, of course, he's hired by them. So don't be surprised. I don't take many of his other, like his international stuff, his Yanks abroad stuff that seriously, because I don't think he really follows the team. And
they don't pay him. That's why.
Right. And I don't know. De Jong is already 33. There you go. So yeah, well, I mean, I don't mean to interrupt. So let's continue.
Yeah, but we have to, whenever we talk about the Olympics, I guess we just have to reiterate this because there's 125 people listening now. Make sure that you go down there and hit the like and subscribe if you haven't, because there's 30% of you fuckers out there that aren't subscribed to us, but you do watch us consistently,
and we appreciate that.
Yeah.
We really do.
But to reiterate a point, the Olympics are going to go on during Leagues Cup, during the European preseason. So again, I would not expect anybody who's vital or even reasonably vital to a team in Europe to actually get released. And definitely I would start questioning whether or not MLS players are going to get released.
And any MLS player worth his salt to his team that's going to be playing in Leagues Cup is also not going to be let to go to the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to leave you some scraps and scraples for the team. So I don't know. We can get all high on the Olympics here, but I don't think the Olympic team's going to be very good, folks. Hate to say it. It's going to be some scraps on that team because if you're worth your salt, you're not going to the Olympics. Nobody's risking that, and they need you for either Leagues Cup or they need you in Europe. Now, maybe somebody will be able to finagle their way in to go to the Olympics. But as Jesse Marsh has said, this is one of the few things he said correctly, I would never let, after one bad experience with one of my players at Leipzig, where I let him go to the Olympics, I would never do it again. I would never let my players go to the Olympics.
It was the Olympics, and then they had another tournament at the same time, wasn't it? Like it came back from like 2 tournaments.
And then the player came back absolutely spent.
And he was only there for 3 months.
I said, what he said is I should have let him play the FIFA window stuff, but not the Olympics. That was my bad call.
Was it
was it the
Euros and Olympics?
I think so. So yeah, there you go. Go ahead. You got to finish this quote.
Duncan McGuire, Brandon Vasquez, Haji Wright, even. So lay it out for me this summer. How do you separate them? What's the pecking order in each tournament? How do you see the U.S. center forward situation?
Come on, Holden.
Yeah, so I'm going to set this up to kick it over to you after, Lex, because I think you agree with me there. And I was looking at this last night between our strikers, and I've seen everybody, not everybody, but I've seen the conversation around the number 9 pool being like, wow, this is we finally got a deep pool at number 9. Hey, no, we don't. Okay?
I agree with them there. I don't think it's that fucking deep. I agree with them.
Yeah.
People talking like this is super deep. I think you're looking at Pepe, who's still growing as a player, but quite effective. You got Sargent, who has been a scoring machine, but plays in the championship. And you got Balogun, who up until the last game has been on a slump. And they are possibly going to turn into absolute great star players. There's potential for all 3 to do that. Are any of them where McKennie is at with Juventus right now? No. Are any of them where Pulisic is with AC Milan? No. None of them are fucking superstars. All right. They're not there yet. It's good that we can have this debate, but none of them are quite there yet. So we just need to be patient. And we probably shouldn't be saying, oh, we're super deep now at center forward. We're deep, but in a middling sort of the road way.
And even to get to that point, again, talking about the Olympics, our top 4 aren't going to go to the Olympics.
No.
Vasquez isn't going to be an overage player. Cal's not going to get released.
Norwich is in no way going to be letting Sargent go to the Olympics.
Mm-mm.
They've already been poo-pooing and pissing on themselves.
Nations League, yeah.
That we're picking for Nations League. David Wagner's already said, no, man, we don't want him to go.
This is hour by hour with this kid.
I mean, we're playing him 60 minutes a game, and then we're pulling him and shit. Yeah, so, yeah, he's freaking out. I mean, they're not going to want him to go to the Olympics. There's no way they're going to let him go to the Olympics. So scratch this out. I don't know why we're even having this stupid Olympics conversation anymore. We all now understand the landscape. We got players in Europe who aren't going to be released, and we got Leagues Cup. They're going to fuck up the MLS players who would be released. So the good ones. So I don't know why we keep talking about the Olympics.
Well, Derek, since the last time I mentioned that, we've got like 13 more people who just joined the show who haven't gone down hit like yet.
Okay.
Joking. This one's just funny. But yeah, that's why you kind of have to reiterate it from time to time, not necessarily within like a 10-minute window there. But it nails down the point, right?
I have to.
This Olympic squad's going to be something special, I think.
Special ed. All right.
It is like the next guy. And I was there. I'm like, this guy is exciting. And, this is his opportunity. Big move to Monaco. Well, he hasn't started any of the last, I think, since November for Monaco. He hasn't scored in the league in his last 7 games. And this is part of the process, right? Of being kind of.
Just pausing it. He's basically saying what you were saying.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Finally, as opposed to being the guy who has talent, which I think a lot of our national team players are in this bucket right now. kids with potential, more potential than we've seen before in the past.
Okay,
Text calling him out. Hasn't started since November.
Yeah, what's he watching? I mean, seriously, since November? Come on, Stu. You got to pay attention more than this. That's infuriating. It's like you're not even tracking the players. Like, you got anything else to do? This is your fucking job, dude. At least know the facts. Since he gets paid for this, we get paid nothing for what we're doing here. It's pathetic.
Real quick, so somebody's asking what the date on this video was. Is it a new video?
Yes, it's rather new.
Yeah. So I mean, this kind of hits home with the point that Lindsey Horan was making, right?
Yeah.
Stop taking what pundits say, so as biblical. This is you must listen to me. This is the rules.
As I get the facts wrong to make my argument, which the argument's not a bad one, but he gets the facts wrong.
Yeah.
$20. One of my rare disagreements with you guys. This is deep. This is deeper than since I followed. Well, that's true. There is no doubt this is the deepest at center forward we've been in a long time. But that's always been an issue. Like after McBride, who was really behind McBride back in the day that you could count on?
Well, yeah, definitely agree with Jose on that point. Yeah.
So we don't disagree with you. It's deep in a middling sense, Jose, in the sense that, yeah, there's 3 really high potential players, but none of them have met their potential yet.
Two of which offer the exact same thing. Bell is a little bit different, and then P Fox, I'd say the most one that's out there as far as different. But yeah, they're all playing. They're all P Fox, scoring goals in Bundesliga at the highest level, oddly enough here. And nobody's talking about him.
Well, because he only has 4, then he keeps going out injured for this game and that game and coming back in.
He's going out injured. Sarge has been injured for like 5 months now.
He's been in and out
getting limited time.
He's been in and out like a porn movie, right? Like PFOC needs to stay healthy and needs to keep playing. And then people are going to have to take notice because he's playing every game and he's staying healthy and he's scoring. Now, Gladbach, they need goals, so he's going to keep playing. So that's the good news.
We haven't had this many decent seasons from strikers for a while. 2022 World Cup.
Boy, we didn't. Well, I mean, we had Haji there, Sargent there, and Ferreira. I mean, it's actually a step up from that.
Sure. Well, I mean, Pepe was left at home for Ferreira.
Yeah.
Actually, for Haji, technically, I guess.
What a fucking criminal act. I think okay. Yeah, I guess Ferreira was supposed to play the false 9 role. That was the option with having Ferreira there. But when he came on, he trembled like a child and fell to pieces like a bad puzzle. So there you go.
He's looking around going, I got action figures of all you guys in my bed back at home. I got a racing car bed. It's really cool.
I don't even know where you're going with this now. All right.
Talking about why he was trembling because he saw a bunch of people that he idolizes. Jokingly.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
Asked tons of talent, but like, can you be the guy and take that next step in your career where you're doing it consistently, you're doing it at a big club, and now you're handling the pressure and expectations, and you're still maintaining that level? Balogun is going through one of these periods as a young player. He's still so young, so I'm not just trying to say these guys are done, but he's got to start scoring goals consistently and fighting off guys that won his spot. Ricardo.
Yeah. Okay, so he's just repeating what I said, so we don't need to keep playing it. Yes. Does Balogun need to be more consistent? Yes. Does he need to stop taking penalty kicks? Probably. What is he? 1 for 5 this season? Or 1 for 5 all time? So, I mean, not good.
Just for shits, let's just start where Lawless jumps in. Let's see what he has to say.
Oh, boy.
America's kind of your third striker. You?
So, yeah, I mean, so to your point, the fact that I don't understand why, well, I understand, but I don't think it should be the case that Balogun is the incumbent, okay? In terms of what I think it's just wide open. And if anything, I'm even more sure of that now, given what Balogun has become and is right now.
So yeah, So he's making the argument that's gonna spawn other topics here, basically, of whether or not Balogun should be considered the top option for the United States at this point, given where he is with his club. Should we be looking at people like Pepe, who's scoring goals for PSV? Should we be looking at Sarge, who's scoring goals? Haji scoring goals, but out wide. He used to score some goals at the top, but he hasn't played up top for a while.
It's really not even about Balogun's form. When it comes down to it, is Greg the manager? Yes. That's why Balogun probably shouldn't start. It's not that Balogun's not a great effective player when he's at his best. It's that the way we play doesn't work for Balogun. He's not going to get a whole lot of through balls the way we play. We're crossing merchants. That's what we do. And if you're going to be a crossing merchant, you better have a big guy on the end there that can put headers in. That's Sargent. That's Pepe. They're good at that. That's not Balogun's game. He's not a poacher / head-balling genius. That's not his thing. So if you're going to, you have to consider who the manager is if you're going to pick your center forward. And right now, as an overall good at all things, a jack of all trades, Sargent's your best, probably Berhalter starting center forward. Now, if Berhalter goes away and it's a whole different team that plays quick in transition, then you want Balogun on that pitch. Because quick in transition, that's what Balogun does, playing through the lanes.
I mean, yeah, there's the reason why when Balogun's one of his first few interviews, he flat out said, "Yeah, I really like playing with Gio."
Right.
There's a reason for that.
But there's also a reason why Berhalter said in different interviews, we're not really sure how to use Balogun yet. I think
that interview was basically Balogun saying, "Hey, Greg, this is how you use me. You put guys who can slot the ball through the defense and I'll run onto it. Just do that."
But there needs to be more fucking urgency in that whole transition game. We watched the first game with Trinidad and Tobago where we couldn't fucking score because we never busted when we got possession, stole possession. We never busted in transition quickly and made that through pass. Nope. We held on possession because that's what Greg values.
Yep.
And nobody wants to make a mistake by making a bad pass forward or a long ball forward. That doesn't work out. So they ended up packing the box, and it took us 80 minutes to score a goal.
We started reverting back to horseshoe ball.
Horseshoe Berhalter ball. All right, we don't need to watch the rest of this, really. Okay. I don't even know why I sent it to you.
You probably had a reason. You probably had a reason behind it.
Now I forgot what it was.
Well, clearly you did.
Yeah, it was like 3 days ago.
Let's see here. Where are we at next? That's going to take us back to we started talking about the Geo topic, I guess, and then we'll do Yanks Abroad. How about that?
Okay. Yeah.
Or do you want to just wait till it's Geo's time in the Yanks Abroad?
Let's do that. Yeah,
okay.
That makes more sense. On Friday, Haji Wright went 73 in a loss to Preston North End, by the way, who, since Dwayne Holmes has gone away, has gone back to winning ways. And they're climbing up the table, is Preston North End. Mark McKenzie went 90 in a win. Jonathan Amon went 30 for Lyngby in a loss. Fabian Hertzler, just to cover the German-American manager of St. Pauli, they are back to their winning ways after having a first loss in a long time. Fabian Hertzler is still one of the most talked about managers into Bundesliga. More than likely, St. Pauli are going to go up. He's going to stay with them one more season, maybe two, depending on how well that season goes in the Bundesliga. But he is hot property right now in Germany. The big teams are talking about him. The middling teams are talking about him. So we'll see what happens. And he's only 34, 35. So Fabian Hertzler is going to be around a long time. Justin Che, just another American manager like Matarazzo to keep an eye on in Germany. Justin Che, 30 minutes for Adeo in the second division in a tie. That's not good because he was starting and now he's back to bench. Augustine Anello, 35 minutes for Cambor, also in the second division in a loss. I only put him on here because people like to talk about.
Didn't recognize the name. Yeah.
People like to bring him up on X. What about Augustine Anello? He plays in the second division and He's not that great in Holland. So let's just chill out here. Jedi, 90 minutes in a win. Ream was in the 18. As I mentioned last show, I said Ream's going to go back to being on the bench because Tosin is back and healthy. He is back and healthy. Ream goes back to the bench. They win, nevertheless. By the way, Ream had what I would call Jedi had another great performance. Not the whole game, but generally reliable. And looked like in many times on the left side of the pitch, the best player on the left side of the pitch. Reyna, 10 minutes in Nottingham Forest. And here we get to that. Okay.
Let's talk about this.
I don't even mind the panic so much on X. Like, oh shit, I told you this is a bad move. What I really hate are the people who are like, yeah, that's because he's not really that good.
Yeah.
What? Are you stupid? Are you dumb?
Like people are like, well, I've been trying to tell you for this long, and I don't think it's necessarily the coaches he's playing for. It's just this is clear an indication he's just not as good as we piped him up to be.
Oh yeah, so you must have missed the game where he dribbled through half the Mexican team. You must have missed the game where we dominated Mexico because he played in the game the whole time. And I get it, Mexico's not as good as they used to be. Fuck, I actually think that Mexico could probably use K-Cal and Brandon Vasquez at this point. But honestly, it's not a good team, but still, this guy was the star of the show. So you missed that game, I'm guessing. Or you missed a whole season at Dortmund when he was a starter before his injuries. Did you miss those?
And that's the thing I think everybody forgets, right? He was a starter for a very prolific, offensive-minded Dortmund team.
Yep.
He gets injured, comes back 2 years later almost, and he finds his position and filled by the same people he was up against a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
But the difference is you have a much more conservative coach there, and now he's in a situation where he's at a new club, and whether Nuno wants him or not, and again, we're going to play a video. We're going to play a bit of a video here talking about this. Whether or not he wants him or not, obviously everybody's argument against that is that, well, Nuno will play him if he thinks he's going to make a difference, because obviously they're vying for to stave off relegation. So if Reyna's out there lighting it up, and apparently all indications are that he's lighting it up in practice, why is he not getting more playing time? Why is it always at the end of the game? It's a big thing. When the game's already decided or the rest of the team is just frantically running around.
What minute did they go down by one goal at the end? Do we know that?
What time did they go down one goal? So the 3-2 marker?
Yeah.
That was right off kickoff. Because they were 3-1. They were 3-1 at half, and then right off kickoff, like 52nd or 56th minute or whatever, they got the 3-2. And I started at that point. I was like, man, it's not gonna happen. But then they went 4-2, and I'm like, all right, let's put Gio in.
No, I mean, honestly, if my argument would have held true at 3-2, especially as soon as it's 4-2, you're throwing Reyna on immediately. You're not waiting for 10 minutes left in the game. Now, I'm not sure when that last goal for 4-2 was scored, but I definitely would have thrown him on immediately after that goal, because now you need 2 goals in a short time. You got to score. You don't give a kid 9-10 minutes.
So Bailey scored in the 61st minute
to make it 4-2.
Yeah,
that's when he should have come on. So now, I remember being angry about it this weekend, but I couldn't remember the exact times.
I think Yates came in the 72nd.
And then they bring Yates in. What are you fucking smoking? What are you smoking, Nuno?
No, 73rd minute. 73rd minute.
You trying to prevent more goals or score goals? You're down 4-2, you fucking moron.
I made the comment, like, you're down 4-2. Why are you bringing in Yates when you could bring in Gio? And literally the very next play, Yates almost scored a goal. And I'm like, I nearly had to eat crow there.
Yeah, well, that's true. He did almost. But, yeah, I mean, it's frustrating because my rationale is that Nottingham Forest are going to be down in a lot of games going forward this season. They're going to need goals. They're going to need to bring in a guy who has a history of scoring goals. So you bring him in the last 20, the last 30. You don't bring him in the last 9 minutes. What a fucking waste of his time and your time.
Well, he's not. There's no chance he's back. They're bagging in 2 goals. I know Aston Villa were not horrific, or they weren't perfectly defensively sound by any means, and maybe they could have bagged 2 goals in those last 9+ minutes. But That's asking a lot.
Aston Villa is a really good team this season. Super good team. I love their manager. Always have, by the way, Emery. Great manager. Kind of like the manager of Real Betis, by the way. Also a really great manager.
Forrest had their number there at halftime and on that they looked shaky in the defense. Now, mind you, the first 45 plus 2 minutes or whatever it was, Forrest had a couple of attacks forward, but not necessarily anything, to write home to by any means.
Yeah.
But,
is this a trend? I guess we'll see. We don't have enough games yet to say when Forrest are down and they need a goal, they still don't play Reyna. I need to see more of that to make that determination. But if this is the beginning of a trend, it's irritating as fuck.
Yeah.
I can understand if you're up a goal and there's 35 minutes to go, not putting in Reyna. You put in defensive players because you want to hold on to the lead. You've made what if you had possession argument, but I don't think that's going to happen.
That's going to lot in EPL though.
It is.
But I know when the game ended, Pete's big gripe with Reyna is that Reyna's out there vying for minutes, and it was kind of safe and kind of lack of intensity to move forward. And I could see what he's saying there, but I'm like, well, a lot of the time Reyna was receiving the ball with it in their defensive half with his back to his man.
Right. Most
of the time he's playing it out wide. He's playing it a quick 1-2 touch out to somebody else to move the ball forward. There were a lot of times he was screaming. I don't necessarily screaming, but he was hands shaking like, "Hey, over here, pass me the ball. I'm right here. I'm open." He was yelling for the ball. He didn't get the ball half the time. And when he finally did get a ball that he can actually turn and look and move forward with it, he laced a nice 40-yard ball to the right-hand side to, I think it was Williams, who brought down and had a cross that got blocked or something like that. But it was a quick change of attack moving forward. And the problem is again, they were down 4-2 with limited minutes. There wasn't a lot he could do. And at that point, there wasn't a lot any of them could do.
10 minutes. You've played the game long, so you know this, Brett, but 10 minutes goes by really fast in soccer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, you may not touch the ball in 10 minutes in some games. There might be 10 minutes of a game where the ball's on the other side of the pitch if you're a right midfielder like I was, and you don't even touch the ball for the first 10 minutes of the game. You're like, fuck, they're playing down the whole other side of the field. This sucks. So 10 minutes is a lot, and that's kind of aggravating. But I agree with you. I don't know how much more he could have done. You're asking him to take chances, but I mean, where were the opportunities to spin and go? There really weren't.
Well, and this is along the lines of what Tact and Pete were saying as far as the move for Gio going to Forest is, and I said this in a couple last couple shows actually. Forest just plays very, very English style. They play quick, out of the middle, out wide, get it down, lay it across. Now, mind you, they may drag it back across and look for that pass back into the middle, but it's usually they get it out wide and then they bring it back in.
Although Pete did come around this weekend on Sunday, I caught a snippet of a show that somebody sent me that he was like, yeah, not the greatest situation, but you know what? Reyna's going to learn from this. He's going to learn something from this. So it's not altogether horrible. And he will learn.
Wait, who said that? Who said that originally? Was it this guy down here?
I did, yeah. I did say that. And he will learn, but like I said, if this becomes a trend where they're down a goal and they need a goal, there's 30 minutes left in the game, and Reyna doesn't come on, and he doesn't come on until the 9th minute, the 10th, I'm going to be enraged. And yes, my very pleasant words about Nuno as a coach and a manager will probably turn sour, more than likely. Oh, this is the guy that you said the other people don't like that are not even Forest fans. That's funny.
A Forest fan in the chat that day said that he's not even a fan. I don't know.
I don't know who he is.
He's got a big show. He talks about Forest, and I don't disagree with some of the takes he takes. He's very, quite frankly, pro Gio, although he says very similar things where we haven't seen enough of him yet where we can say yay or nay. So hopefully he gets more playing time type thing.
So are the other two shows we played on here before. They were pro GO2.
It's the same show. I mean, the only ones that I've brought up so far.
Oh, well, then I've watched other Nottingham Forest shows, podcasts. Yeah.
So here he goes talking about things we learned in that 4-2 loss.
Is Reyna turning into the new Santos? Now, this isn't my quote. I saw a lot of you in the watch along and in the player ratings. So,
now, do you know what he's getting at with this, first off?
I'm guessing it's a great player who didn't get to play.
So at the beginning of the season, Chelsea loaned out a player whose name is Santos.
Okay.
To Forest. And he never played under Cooper, apparently.
Well, that's Cooper.
And then Chelsea called him back up. Like, well, if you're not going to play him, we're going to call him back up.
Right.
They called him back up. And then and now a lot of people are saying, is this the same scenario?
It's a different coach. I don't know.
Well, the whole point is Nuno's bringing him in and not playing him.
We'll see. It's 4 games, though. I gotta remind people it's 4 fucking games.
Saying this. And yeah, I think there is an argument for it because, as I mentioned earlier, Yates being subbed ahead of Reyna when you're 2 goals behind and you're looking for a goal. It should be Reyna coming on. Again, something I think Nuno got wrong was...
Yeah.
That's what we're saying.
That's what we said.
Clearly, those of us who aren't necessarily Forest fanatics by any means can still see a glaring mistake there.
I mean,
one nice thing about Nuno in that instance, he did fix his early mistakes with the defense.
But
so that was good on him on that front.
I'm not a Forest fan. Obviously, I'm watching the games now, but I am a Forest admirer because when I grew up in the 80s, Forest was the motherfucker. They were the best team in not the Premier League, the first division. And I love their logos. I love everything about the tradition of Forest. So I have respect for this team. So we'll see. Weinstein says, do the Coventry pods and listen to what they said about Haji.
I'll just DM me with a couple of them and I'll take a look.
I'm guessing they're positive.
Well, I have to hope so. I mean, he's got how many goals this season so far?
I mean, he played 45 he played in the Carabao Cup today and was like, out of the 7 goals, he was the only one not to get one. He only played a half, though. It's funny because
they like him more than U.S. fans like him.
No, that makes sense because he scored a lot of goals for them, right? So
it should have been Danilo off, bring on Reyna, put him in the 10 and drop Morgan Gibbs-White into like that advanced 8, make us a bit more attacking and aggressive. But was Reyna good enough when he came on? I haven't seen much of him since he started. As we keep telling you, the stories we're getting from inside the club is that training-wise, he's lighting it up. You know, Ant said himself the other day that, well, training means nothing if you're not going to produce it on the pitch. I get that argument, but you have to train well to get onto the pitch. It's exactly what Murillo did. Murillo shone out in training, forced his way into the first team, and kind of the rest is history. Is he the new Santos? I'm not ready to say yes, but there are signs of it. Now, that would then bring the question of, was it Nuno who wanted him, or was this more internal club recruitment going?
So, again, this is multiple weeks where he's mentioned how word from the clubhouse is that Reyna is lighting it up in practice.
Mm-hmm.
But, again, and even looking at this match where they lost 4-2, I mean, the 3 players he's vying playing time against, you know, White, you have Langa, and you have Adoy. They're all playing well together right now.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been there longer, and Nuno knows them better. So Reyna's got to take advantage of the time he gets, but in this situation, like you mentioned, when you're down 4-2, you go for the more offensive look. And you take out a little more of a defensive-minded player and put an offensive-minded player in.
Right. 15 minutes bare minimum. Give me a break.
Yeah.
10, 9, or whatever it actually ended up being. That's not enough. It's crap. It's frankly crap. And I might have to eat crow if this continues, but right now I'm not going to eat it yet. We've only had 4 games, real games, because he wasn't able to play in the first cup game. Somebody said he is eligible for the next cup game. I thought if you weren't registered in general, you couldn't be, but I don't know. Maybe he can play in the next cup game. If
Real
so,
quick, Chambers is asking if he said that Gio was lighting it up or he needs to light it up. So I just rewound it a little bit just to take a look at that real quick.
he said he was lighting it up.
Okay, then that's what I thought.
Was it Nuno who wanted him, or was this more internal club recruitment going through to get him over the line? I still think Nuno wanted him. I really do. And I still think Reyna's coming to Forest expecting to play games. He's not going to go from bench warming at Dortmund to having 4 or 5 offers and pick Forest to be the one he bench warms at instead.
It's true, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
There were circumstances he wanted to get out of Dortmund, so
I don't know if there were 4 or 5 serious offers, though.
True, that's fair.
Yeah.
So be patient. Reyna will make his mark. Maybe he needs to come in for Elanga. I think
that is weird.
What we're going to see happen against Manchester United is Morgan Gibbs-White potentially rested, and Reyna comes in at the 10 from the start, and then maybe Morgan comes on with 20 minutes to go. But he's going to get his chance. We just got to be patient.
He's talking about the cup game there.
Is that who they're playing? They're playing Manchester United, I guess, is what he's talking about.
Is that midweek?
Let's see here. They play on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then they got a quick turnaround on Saturday against Liverpool. So yeah, absolutely. I feel like that'd be the time to do it, right?
The cup game is midweek, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, if he qualifies to play for that, which I guess he does. He wasn't, I don't know, there's some sort of paperwork that didn't get done.
The last cup game issue was that they already played the first leg. And
that's right. Leg. That's right. You can't play, the second leg if you weren't registered for the first. Okay, makes sense now. So he should start then in that cup game, I would think.
Yeah.
I honestly, and there's no reason you have to pull Gibbs-White out to do it. You can figure out a way to get Reyna on the pitch for that game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can understand his point as far as maybe you don't necessarily take the cup game at this point as serious as the more important EPL games.
Oh, they won't. Trust me.
So you start playing a couple of reserves. You bench some starters so they can stay rested for the important games. They got Liverpool again on Saturday, and I'm assuming their schedule's not. I mean, I believe I haven't gone to take a look at their schedule, but I believe they're playing a good chunk of their schedule coming up is going to be playing against a lot of the bottom feeding teams, anyways. Yeah. So you probably want to make sure that your starters at that point are well rested.
Yep, they need every win they can get, even though the bottom 3 in the Premier League look pretty poor.
Mm-hmm.
But you can never count on that to continue. So, all right, Turner was in the 18, by the way, and of course didn't play. Chris Richards went 90 at left center back, got a goal, got the first goal, and that was a win for Crystal Palace, which they needed. And, Pete made some sort of comment on his Sunday show about Roy Hodgson not playing Chris Richards. Yeah, he did. He did play him. In fact, he played him at right back. He played him at center defensive midfielder. So it wasn't like they weren't playing Richards. Did he get to play center back for Hodgson? Not very much, no. But now with them playing 3 in the back instead of 2, we're going to see a whole lot more Richards, I think, going forward, playing in the back in a center back spot. Sargent went 90, and the scoring streak is over.
Oh, it's bound to happen, I'm assuming so. Yeah,
too bad. Horvath, 90 and a win. Gooch, 45 and a loss for Stoke. Stoke are going down, dude. Matthew Hoppe did not dress after dressing for 2 games in a row for Middlesbrough. He was conspicuously absent. I think somebody came back from injury, so he dropped off. Oh, that's not really good for Matthew Hoppe. Reggie Cannon in the 18 for QPR didn't play. Brendan Aronson, 81 scurrying minutes for Aronson, where he scored
a goal.
He scored off his back. Yeah, well, he didn't end up getting credit for it. So there you go. Because the shot was on goal and it was deemed a deflection.
Keeper would have had it the entire time.
Oh,
you guys are lucky that Brennan scored.
In hockey, that's a goal. In hockey,
look, he's like, "Hey guys, I scored," and he's like, "No, I scored."
Yeah, well, all the other players went over to the guy that really scored. So there you go. Not Aronson. Maloney went 83 and left with an injury in that game. Pfock 88 and a goal and a win. And Scally 90 for Gladbach in that win. Toljan back in the 18 off the injury list. Zahir Al-Islam went 71 in a win for St. Truden. Didn't score, though. So always looking for Zahir Al-Islam to score. Reynolds and Yao both went 90 in a loss for Westerlo. Pepe got a goal with 20 minutes. Both Tillman and Pepe played around 20 minutes. Pepe got the goal, Tillman the assist, and Des the first assist of the game. And he went 90. Fun game to watch because it was a slaughter. And I was hoping that there would be more Pepe goals and more Tillman goals. It just didn't happen. Johan Gomez, 64 and a tie for Braunschweig. They are currently sit 15th, so very near the drop zone into Bundesliga. Caleb Stanko was in the 18 for Lamia, didn't play. Bucio, 90 in an assist. Tessman, 90 in a win. That puts them back into second in Serie B. Novakovic, no surprise.
Bouncing back to Bucio real quick.
Yeah.
So here we go. We got Chris here posted, Bucio and Tessman continue the run with Venezia midfield, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Talk about they should be in contention for U.S. men's national team, perhaps.
No.
Maybe they deserve some looks. And Derek goes, I think they shouldn't be forgotten. And then I said, they, while that is quite the list, are you suggesting it's near time for you to eat crow on claiming that Bucio was done?
I never said Bucio was done as a player. I said Bucio's done contributing in any meaningful way to the U.S. men's national team, and it's time to write him off going forward.
I have zero interest of actually going back and taking a look, but I'm pretty sure you threw him in the done pile.
I did,
but I don't know. I don't even know where to go and look for that right now. So
done with the U.S. men's national team. Yes, done. He is not going to.
Somebody's got to go. Somebody's got to go look through all of our library and find it.
Well, what other consideration am I making? The show's all about the U.S. men's national team.
Okay, that's fair. But you're also saying that players like Bello's done, so you're lumping him in with Bello in that sense.
Bello is done, not as a player. He could still go play in MLS. He's playing in Austria. He's not done as a player. He's done as far as the U.S. men's national team is done. That is always my point. That's why I say
nobody was arguing the fact that these players were legitimately done, like they don't have a soccer career anymore.
Yeah, some people actually think that Bello still has a chance to play on the U.S. men's national team, believe it or not.
And you just said they shouldn't be forgotten.
They shouldn't be forgotten.
Be in contention for the national team.
They shouldn't be forgotten. I should have said Tessman, mostly. Honestly.
That's why I said they. That's why I emphasized they.
Yeah.
That's why.
But that's not
right. I was right.
That's not to say Bucio won't ever get called up by Greg again. He might. Is he going to play? No. Is he ever going to contribute for the U.S. men's national team in any major or even minor way? No. He's done. Tessman, however, has a future. In my book, Tessman has a future with the team. If he can hang around, move up to Serie A, and make a statement, then he can fight his way as an 8. I don't think he can fight his way as a 6. Derek put Bucio in the Conrad. Conrad is done with the U.S. men's national team. They are in the same category, correct?
He's in with the Haitian team.
Sebastian Soto. They are not in the same category because in one sense that Bucio is actually still an effective player for a club Serie B team in Italy. But is he done with the U.S. men's national team? Yes. To me, he should be. And I think the same thing goes for Conrad. The same thing goes for a bunch of players. We went down the list. So when I say done, I mean done with the U.S. men's national team and contributing in any way to the U.S. men's national team going forward. Yeah. That's always how I framed it, Brett. Always.
That's fine. No, my point here, I was right because you said they, indicating
you
that
were correct.
Both players deserve looks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only reason why I brought it up. I never thought that you said, "Oh, Bucio's done as a player. He doesn't have a career anymore. He's gone." I mean, he's not David Ochoa, so that's completely gone.
He's not Sebastian Soto in the same. That's almost a whole category of different of done. Like Conrad could seriously be done as a player here. All right, soon, because he can't even get off the bench at Ibar. can't get off the bench. All
Yeah.
right. At a Segunda team. Where was I? Novakovic, 69 for Lecco and a tie. They're still at the bottom of the table. Brendan Vasquez, 45 minutes and a goal. A pretty nice goal for a win. Again, I'm not getting super excited about anybody scoring goals in Liga MXs anymore.
Well,
because, frankly, the difference between MLS and Liga MXs is very small.
Well, what does it say that a striker who was struggling to score with the consistency he had the previous season last year, and a player who got two and a winger / tacker got 2 goals for San Jose have gone to Mexico and started creating chances and scoring goals. Scoring goals more for Vasquez than Cal, but still.
Cal's, now scored in a different tournament and then scored for Chivas his first league game that he scored for them. And this is funny. This is a guy who couldn't score for his life in MLS last season. But we'll see if that continues, if they figure Cal out, because Cal was a right foot merchant.
Yeah.
But then the 2 goals he scored in the CONCACAF thingy that he did were both, the goal was with his left foot, the assist was with his left foot. So maybe this is something he's worked on. And we always said, if he doesn't work on it, he's done, because he's a one-trick pony right now. If he becomes not a one-trick pony, then he can be, because he's got all the physical and athletic attributes. He's not super technical, but technical enough with those attributes that he can be better than whatever Jordan Morris turned into.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because he could be Jordan Morris without the injuries plus a left foot. So we'll see. Cal is effective until you scout him. Well, he wasn't effective last year with San Jose. I mean, that's the problem, right? So I was kind of surprised by the Chivas signing. But he's done well since he's been there. So Lucci Ball killed Cal. It could be that, or it could be that everybody knows what Cal in MLS knows what Cal does, like everyone does. Mm-hmm. Maybe they haven't figured that out in Mexico yet, but we'll find out. Maybe he listens to the straight red card. Maybe he does. I'd like to think that on occasion.
But that Derek and Breck are right. I gotta do something to my left foot.
I imagine that if a player actually, and there have been players that have watched this show, I do know that, and I wonder if they ever get to a point in the show where they get bad-mouthed in some way or criticized, or there's some critique, and then they're like, fuck this show. They never come back. But we're just brutally honest here. We're going to have to be honest. I'm not going to lie. Even it's been really difficult for me to say things that I've said about Hoppy with my connections to that family.
We're generally over the top colorful about it anyways.
And I mean,
take our points, but don't necessarily listen to us saying that you're worse than a whatever. I don't know.
It's
worse than shit.
It's not personal, right? Like I don't have anything personal against Conrad. He's just not. He's got something wrong with him. Something very seriously wrong. And every place he goes, they don't want to play him. Didn't want to be played at Marseille. Didn't want to play him at Olympiacos. Didn't want to play. They don't even play him at Eibar. So there's something wrong with him. And has he taken a look in the mirror and gone, what's wrong with me? What can I fix here? Or am I just so good and it's all on everybody else? Is it their fault and not mine? Because I'm awesome and they're stupid. Well, after a while, got to look in the mirror. Zendejas went 77 in a win. And then on Sunday, Trusty, 90 in a loss, playing center back in the middle of the center back 3, which is, that's an important role. Like if you move from left center back to the center back, that's a lot of responsibility. Now you're really kind of responsible for directing the other 2 center backs to your sides. So that's a lot of responsibility. So as you well know, the center back on your team was like the backbone of the center backs when you played, if you played against a team that played a back 3. Balogun, for us, it was Grant Matola. He was like the backbone of our back 3 in high school. Sabi, 90 minutes in a loss for Le Havre. Balogun, we discussed already, 90 minutes in a win. Yes, he scored a great goal. Fabulous goal. Physical. Strong goal. and then he missed a PK. Is he back yet? Well, we'll see. We'll just keep watching games, right? Remember when people say Christians need to leave Palace like a bunch of premature ejaculators? Exactly, Al. We got a lot of premature ejaculation going on about all kinds of players.
It's that instant gratification we talked about. They want it now.
Jess needs to come to MLS. Jess he's not good enough. He needs to come to MLS. Oh, you know what? Reyna should come to MLS. Oh, you know what? Pulisic should come to MLS. Oh, Pepe needs to come back to MLS. He's not good enough for Europe because of that Augsburg thing. Well, who else? Richards. Yeah, I mean, listen, stop it. Stop it. Just stop it. Chill the fuck out. Smoke a joint. Take a fucking, whatever you got to take, whatever drug calms you the fuck down. Be patient, people. This ain't going to happen overnight. Farouk Assault Syndrome.
I want a goose that lays golden eggs. I want a goose that lays golden eggs now.
That's a band, isn't it? Farouk Assault?
Farouk Assault is the chick from Willy Wonka. The spoiled brat.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't have remembered that.
Now.
Doesn't she get ate up by the chocolate and all that? And...
Nope, she falls down the bad egg. She wants a goose that lays golden eggs. And she stands on there and she falls down. And she's a bad egg. She goes to the furnace.
She died, right?
Well, I don't know. I guess you never actually read the book, so I don't know what happens to the kids. The new one actually shows all the kids leaving Wonka's chocolate factory. The one with Johnny Depp, and when the TV mic is like all stretched. No, he's all stretched out because he got super small. Violet was still Violet, etc. So.
I like the job.
Kumar does say none of the kids die.
I have to say the original's the best. I'm sorry. It is. The first Willy Wonka is the best with what's his face?
Gene Wilder.
Gene Wilder. Thank you. What an actor that guy was.
That movie, I hated that movie when I was a kid because my mom used to show it. She's a third grade teacher, and any indication of what kids used to be like back in the day. You could sit there in third grade and watch Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory at school. I'm sure kids nowadays would get nightmares from watching that.
I remember
that boat scene.
I remember in like 8th grade, we were doing Romeo and Juliet, and we watched the then uncensored version of Romeo and Juliet, which I don't know if the teacher was aware, but had full frontal nudity in it. And we all went nuts. I mean, we're middle schooler. Well, we're 8th graders. And we're like, holy shit, this shit has nudity. I'm watching the rest of what happens in this movie. You got really focused all of a sudden. All right. But that's not the only. I mean, I was an Army kid, so it was an Army school, so maybe they didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Because I remember them showing us in French class when I was like in 4th grade or something, the Tour de France uncut. And those dudes don't get off their bikes to pee. They keep riding and they just whip their dicks out. And this is totally uncensored. Whip their dicks out the side of their drawers and just piss while they're riding. And you're like, excuse me? What's
mine would have got stuck in the tire.
I was like, excusez-moi. The penises are out of the pants and pissing on the. I mean, it was unbelievable. My nickname in French class was Derdier.
I thought it was gonna be Long Don Silver.
It was Derdier. That was the closest name she could come up with me to have a French name that was a D sounding. It ended up being DDA. So when we went to gym class and I was kicking in kickball, all the kids would yell out DDA, DDA when I'd come up. It was quite inspiring. And I was really good at kickball. So there you go.
We got to pick our own Spanish names. We didn't have to go with anything close to our names.
Would you go with Paco?
Paco.
Oh my God, how did I guess that? That is so fucking crazy. Of course you did. Of course you went with Paco. Oh my God. All right. Jesus. Are we connected somewhere cerebrally? Because you have never told me that before.
No.
Oh my goodness. All right. I was just joking. Holy shit. All right. Timmy Chandler sighting. Timmy Chandler sighting. Got to play the end of the game and got an assist for the tie. Timmy Chandler's back. He's back. Paredes, 90 minutes in a tie. Again, one of those games where you watch Paredes and you're like, I mean, he's fine, but he's not really doing anything like to make a difference. Just a lot of doing his job, but not like, I don't know, breaking legs and ankles or anything. So there's that. I'd like to see more from him. And then Brooks went 90 in that win versus Dortmund. Suck it, Terzic. Suck it. McKenny, 86 in a masterful game by McKenny. Way I got the last 30, but I don't know. I think we're probably looking at a week or two for his shoulder because that's about what it took last time.
I don't know, man. That guy's got some Wolverine type healing ability. I even joked around saying he was probably fine when he got home.
They probably popped it back in, and he's like, it feels fine. Because that can happen sometimes, right? Where it just pops out, and you pop it back in, and you're like, oh, god damn, that feels a lot better. Thank you.
It still fascinates me. There's a was it Juventus EN handle on Twitter, and people are posting hey, don't ever give them credit because they are the originators of saying that Weston is fat and stuff like that. So they were not necessarily on Weston's side at the beginning of the season, but now they've sort of done a flip flop, which is great. Which is good that they flip flopped, I guess. But
now they're deep throating his ass.
But he's like, hey, this is the Weston appreciation, 2 assists, woo post, and then like half the posts are still bagging on Weston. Like, he's not a Juventus midfielder. We need to get another midfielder in there.
He's the best midfielder you've got, you fucking idiots. Jesus Christ. All right. I mean, who do you want to play? Who are you going to throw out there?
They got to get their point is that, we'll be in the Champions League next year. We need to get somebody else.
Man,
this time with Juve in the Champions League was pretty good. Get that great scissor type of volley off of Barcelona, I think it was.
Yeah. We still need a goal out of McKenny this season.
Yeah. I'll take the assist and all. I mean, at least he's creating them and creating the goals. But yeah, I'd love for him to get an assist.
Pulisic went 88. In a rather middle of the road Pulisic game for Pulisic.
Yeah.
Still frustrated. He seems very frustrated out there. Like they don't look at him as the first option. Now, his big shots, shockingly, was when Leao bombed the ball down the field for him when he made a run and he went off his knee and he just missed it by inches. That would have been amazing. Had that gone in, that would have taken that game from good to great. But as it is, it's just a good game for Pulisic. He wasn't bad. Wasn't bad at all. When I watch Pulisic play, when I get up in the morning and I turn on an AC Milan game, I want to see some Pulisic.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see the whole game go down the left fucking side of the field. And that's often what happens with AC Milan. And it's very frustrating to watch. So Musa went 11 and mostly nondescript. Luca
real quick while we're still in the Serie A matches there. I wanted to bring up the standings here because 2 weeks ago when Juve lost their last loss, I said at that point, I said on Twitter, I said, and it was at this point that Juve handed Inter the Scudetto.
Right.
And I had some chud come on there and literally tried to light me a new one. And it was an idiotic argument. But look, here we are.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not losing games. They're not losing games. They just won 4-0 this past weekend. They're 9 points up on Juve, and they got a game in hand.
I mean, when you look at Inter's roster at the beginning of the season, you're like, I don't know how they're going to do, but they're well coached. They play as one unit. They're a machine out there. They're really good. So I don't see them dropping many games this season.
They're certainly not going to drop 3 matches.
Yeah. And Juventus is certainly not going to win every game for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Because that's not how Mr. Soccer Terrorist plays. So, I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
It's just his argument is like, go watch EPL because that's what EPL fans say. I'm like, do you really think Inter's going to lose 3 games? They haven't. They've lost 1 game this season.
Isn't you said called him a chud? You mean chode?
Whatever. It doesn't matter what I call him.
A chode. The chode is
a chud is an internet term, Derek.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. So there's a Chad who's supposed to be like like the alpha, guy who's kind of a dick, and then a chud is just a form of making fun of it.
What about a chode? A chode's the space between your nutsack and your asshole.
Yeah.
You should have called him that because that's more like
some came first, so
accurate. Although that is a sensitive spot. All right. Sorry.
Especially when you light yourself on fire.
Oh. I don't think you got any down there. All right.
Sure, it burned.
He was wearing a U.S. military uniform when he did it. By the
way,
way,
former Navy, I thought, wasn't he?
He's current Air Force.
Oh, current Air Force.
So why he's running around in army fatigues, I'm not sure, because the Air Force has different. They used to have a whole different uniform. All right, hold on. All right, Luca De La Torre, another really good game from him. An assist and a tie. They should have won the game. Honestly, should have won it. They choked at the end. Cardoso, 90 minutes. A Golazo, a win. Cardoso's impressing the holy shit out of me. I did not know he was going to be this good. He's had one game where I thought he didn't do that much that game, but this game, very good.
Real quick, just to correction as we're talking. Al Weinstein says that's not a chode.
What's a chode then?
That's a taint.
Taint!
Chode is a small penis, or chode is a dick as wide as it is long.
You're right. It is the taint. I don't know where I've ever heard the word chode, but I have heard it before. I just didn't apparently know what the fuck it is. Okay. All right. Slanina, 90 and a loss for Eupen.
What a weird. If you just look at the stats, because I didn't watch the game, but he obviously had the highest ranking on his team, so his team sucked royal, I guess. But he had 6 saves, he lost 2-0, and he had a 14% pass accuracy.
Ew, that's not good.
So how does that work? Because even if you can do more than 14% just making simple passes. Was the opposition pressing that high that he's forced to make bad passes,
or long ones?
Or was the team just not going to the ball and then the other team gets to it first?
No, my guess is all of his passes, because they were pressed so highly and they were on the defensive so much, were just clearances. Those count as bad passes in the stats. So U.S. women just got scored on 1-0 Mexico. What channel is that on, Kevin? I'll pull it up. It's better than me pulling it out because that will get me banned on YouTube. So I want to pull up that game.
Paramount Plus or Fubo?
Paramount Plus?
Yeah.
Okay. As I keep going down the list, Paxton Aronson, 90 minutes in that double pivot for Vitesse, and a goal and a win. A rare win for Vitesse, which a win they needed very, very badly. They sit at the bottom of the table. But good for Paxton Aronson coming in, playing out of position. He's never, to my knowledge, ever played in a double pivot before, but being effective. Sack Booth, 90 and a loss for Volendam.
By the way, Vitesse is in 17th place, not 18th.
I know, they're still at the bottom of the table now.
Okay, sorry. When I hear bottom of the table, I think you mean bottom.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean they were at the bottom last week. So they moved up because of that win.
Sure,
they're still in relegation. Your homeboy, Alex Mendez in the 18 for Vizela did not play. Sebastian Soto did not dress. So I looked it up, and he has back issues. So if you go to Transfer Market and you look at every game for this season for the team, it's out with a back. It's all red. One game he plays back to back, then back to the back injury. So he's just not been available. I don't know what kind of back injury he has, but it must be horrible because it's been going on now for a year. That's a serious that's like a spinal injury. like not even a back. Or you can't have a bad back injury and it just never seems to get better. I've had back injuries in my day, and it does take a while to heal up, but this must be really bad because it never took me a year. And then we've got Dietz and Green, who we already mentioned, went 90 each in another win for Greuther Fürth. They currently sit 4th in 2 Bundesliga in the promotion zone. And then we got Gio Caccini in the 18 for Como again, didn't play. Cal 88. Gio Caccini. Cal, huh?
We said that earlier when we were talking about the snubs and stuff.
Yeah.
And Regalio and BMR were having a laugh, going, Gio Caccini.
Sit on the benchy right now is what it is. Cal 88 in a goal. We already talked about him. And then today we had Haji Wright, went 45 in a win in the cup game. Didn't score, didn't assist, but was troubling. He had the first chance to score against Maidenstone, who are like way down in like the 6th division, and somehow have gotten all the way up to play this game at Carabao Cup, but they got trounced by Coventry City. And then some performances to at least bring up MLS performances. Herrera, an assist for DC United. Matt Polster, your old homeboy, an assist for the Revs. Quinn Sullivan, who you did mention early in the show, an assist for the Union. Brian Gutierrez, a goal and assist for the Fire. Owen Wolf, an assist for Austin. Dante Seeley, a goal for Dallas. Benji Kikanovic, a goal for San Jose. And, you know, that Kikanovic kid has had other streaks for San Jose in the past where he scores and he scores and he scores. And then it's Drought City. So let's see if he can be consistent. Eric Williamson, a goal for Portland. And then, Timothy Tillman, a goal for LAFC. Maybe that's why he got called up. Mm-hmm. Armis, by the way, Armis is coaching the Rapids in a horrible way. He brought the Red Bull thing to the Rapids. They look like crap. They got trounced. And I'm sorry I watched the game. It was an embarrassment. And let's hope that gets better for all the money they spent. No one looked good. Stefan didn't look that great. Better in the second half, but there was no pressure on them in the second half as they went balls out forward in the second half. They did manage to get one back, did Colorado. And then John Hilton, 83, and Osundina, 33, and an assist in the win versus PSV 2. That's Dordrecht versus PSV 2. And Dordrecht now sit 4th. They are in the promotion zone to go up next season in Holland. So worth paying attention to. Borto, 90 for Fulham for the U21s in a loss to Everton's U21s today. And that, my friends, does it. You know, that does it. That's everything.
Isn't it nice? So when was the last time we were able to see a picture like this?
Yeah.
So all the Americans that did something worthwhile, goal or assist, you know?
Never.
God, it's a beautiful thing to see.
At one time, when I first started covering this, there weren't even this number of Americans in Europe, period.
Yeah.
So that was a long time ago when it was much easier to cover Americans abroad than it is now. I can tell you that. It's a pain in the ass. You got anything else, Brett?
No.
Okay.
This was supposed to be a short show, guys. I told Derek it was only going to be 30 minutes.
I knew it was a lie from the beginning, Brett. I knew you were lying.
The 60-man preliminary lasted a little bit longer than I expected. I knew it was your first time seeing it, so that was going to be a talking point, but it definitely carried on, and we definitely stretched it out. Took the proper stretch.
Yeah, it's almost 30. It's 3 hours. But we want to thank everybody who showed up and watched tonight. Make sure you like and make sure you subscribe. Share it with your grandma as usual, or share it with friends that have a sense of fucking humor. If they don't bother sending it to them. because they'll probably cry or wet their pants. And we don't need that, especially with all the stepsister talk we do here. I will say one thing. I was thinking this week about, like, if I were a woman and I was actually attracted to men, this is a weird thought to have. Like, what's the one thing I really, there are two things I probably couldn't do very well. One, take it in the bum, and two, deep throat. Like, that's amazing shit. Women who can do that really well, that's amazing. So keep that up, even if she is your stepsister. And just a reminder, if your stepsister can deep throat, it's completely fine. It's legal. If she's over the age of, well, some states 16, most states 18, completely fine. Look up your own laws. Look it up state by state so you don't get in trouble. But either way, just know you're not alone. You're not alone, as David Bowie once said. All right, we will see you on Thursday. Until then, keep your chode covered. All right.
But she's a trap. She's an unsung novel. Turn a lap and get your whole world dazzled on the line, or a phone call with or without wine.
That hurt.
Then what is this thing?
Gio should never play for U.S. men's national team again because of the action of his parents.
What an idiot! Oh!
What type of Muppet does this?
It's Muppets. Absolute Muppets.
I'm not going to be the best person to give a whole